Let's see if my mic volume is up. Mic check 1 2 1 2. Mic check 1 2 1 2. If anyone in the chat can hear me, just push 1. All right, we got a confirmation, man. Thank you, Kenny Burgess. What's going on, fam? Welcome back to the Black Brain Trust. This is open chat number 32. Hit the like button as you come in, share the video if possible, hit that notification bell so you get all the updates from the Black Brain Trust, including those posted on the community tab. Shalom, DE Raptor. What's going on, Thai City? Peace, Albert Bird, and respect to Super Triz so far. If you want to get on the panel, there'll be a link in the chat. When you click on the link and you're in the waiting room, just raise your hand so one of us can advance you to the panel. So I had had the opportunity to listen to a live stream that happened last night on another channel. I won't mention it because we don't want to give anybody any free publicity, but the talking points of said people was very interesting. I'm usually a fan of the channel owner, but not of the participants that are on the panel, and that really struck an chord with me because the talking points weren't based in factual evidence. There was no citing of the evidence. There was this sort of projection of ignorance that I've never really heard before from a BW. And I always find it interesting that they're able to say all these things and get away with it and no one challenges it. So instead of having an intellectual discussion, it was a discussion really just based on ignorance. Despite all the big words and collegiate terms that they were using, it was really just based on ignorance. And I just find it interesting that they're able to have these sort of discussions and no one is there to actually challenge the talking points. And because of that, I said, you know, to my compadre from the Big Apple, you know, we were able to sit down and we're scratching our heads when we were like, what is going on here? How is this even possible in 2019 for somebody to even talk like this and no one's able to say, hey, where'd you get that information from? Cite a source, put up a link. And we got nothing. You know, I listened to the whole 8 hours and I'm scratching my head. I'm like, what in the world are these people talking about? And there's a term that goes with this. It's called the flightless bird. Shout out to the masculine order. Flightless bird, you know, bird that doesn't even fly. And that's what it sounds like when I hear this babble over there. And I had to write down some points and stuff like that because I just found it amazing that they made these talking points and no one was able to challenge it. So let me go down the list of points real quick. I only took down about 8 or 10 points. Jay-Z being a pedophile for his dealings with Foxy Brown and with Beyonce. According to these people, he was dealing with Foxy Brown when she was underage. No evidence to even support this. Not even Foxy Brown herself has even admitted to this. And they also threw Beyonce in there that she was 16. They said that, that makes him a pedophile for that. If not a pedophile, a pervert. My understanding of this is that Matthew Knowles actually hooked up Beyonce and Jay-Z together at the time, introduced these people together. So sounds to me like this was an arrangement with the family. The family wouldn't have signed off on something like this if they thought that it was against the best interests of the daughter, which was Beyonce. So let me research this real quick. The age of consent in Texas is 17. Age of consent in New York is 17. So I'm trying to understand, how did they come to this conclusion that Jay-Z would even be close to being a pedo? Where are they getting this from? But again, that's the sort of talking points that gets put out there, and they hold Jay-Z accountable for not giving back in philanthropic terms to, let's say, Marcy in Brooklyn, and that Oprah is held to a higher standard, and that somehow, some way, Oprah is put under the microscope because her, she built the school in Africa and things like that. We don't know what Jay-Z's philanthropic contributions have been, because they've never really discussed it. They themselves have not even cited the source of their claims. Let me move on to the next one.
Hey, Mike.
Yes, sir.
Let's not forget what happened at those schools while we on the topic of people taking advantage of children.
Oh yeah. But that doesn't get discussed, right?
No, they never even asked Oprah about that. They tried to sweep that under the rug.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. These talking points are crazy, man.
Man, you know how I feel like as a father, man. I don't even like the word pedo. It's cringy. They throwing it around like it's just I don't know, man. It's crazy out here.
Yeah. It's now they're loosely just applying it to people in the manosphere, right? If you don't co-sign them on their views, you're a pedophile. Can you imagine that?
Well, I got on a panel with somebody and I told her, I said, you can't call somebody a pedophile for the sake of an argument.
That's a strong accusation. That's a very strong accusation.
And if you have proof, you need to go to the authority.
You need paperwork on that. You need evidence. If you ain't got it, man, that falls flat on its face. Where I'm from, man, you need proof, man. You can't call somebody a snitch without having dockets from the judicial system on their telling of other people. You just can't do things like that. But
you can sue somebody for calling you a pedophile.
Yes, libel. Libel. Yeah, it's crazy for that. That's the new term now in the manosphere. Before it was an educated lame. Now it's pedo, and then it went from lame to incel to pedo. That's where we are right now.
I'm telling you, Mike. When you get too close, the pushback gets harder. They start going to these extremes. You know what I'm saying? Now it's wait, where were the parents? How come? You know what I'm saying? We dealing with children. Why are you worried about the parents? You must want the children. It's like, what?
Yeah. Yeah, and if you don't agree with them, then you support the icy hot stunners.
Yeah. And you're not even supposed to talk about it. Look at y'all. Y'all online talking about it. Okay.
And the thing is, if they put that accusation on you, you have to dig your way out of those accusations, despite the fact that they're not true, right? You have to dig your way out of that, because that it's social media that can spread like wildfire, right? A hashtag goes viral. If they start
Well, this,
hashtagging, go ahead.
well, this is beyond clout chasing, bro. This shit is crazy.
Yeah,
Nobody calling me a pedophile in my face. That's all I'm saying.
but even if they don't, there's nothing stopping these people from creating other social media channels, platforms, and pages that can articulate this point that's false, right? They can push a false narrative really easy. This is their version of Me Too. The flightless bird, man. This is their version of Me Too. Everybody's a pedo who doesn't agree with them.
Shit, wow, man.
What I found interesting was that one of the participants said that they have a gaydar. They can tell if a person is in the manosphere, that somehow, well, I can just tell by a person's voice. I can just tell by their talking points. Scratching my head and saying, how is it that you have all of this intuition? Where did you get all this intuition from?
What does a gaydar sound like, fam?
I don't know. Maybe it's like a Russian S-400 surface to air missile system or something like that. Maybe they put it on a blockchain or something like that. Put a hyperledger. I don't know. You have to laugh so you don't cry, because this is so crazy that they can come up with terms like this, man. But this is who the flightless birds are, with their dusty feet, man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, how your feet get so dusty? I don't know. Just be dusting them up, man.
No,
Oh
I have a
man.
gaydar. Chill, fam.
This is what they said last night. I said, this is crazy, man. Like, how this is the kind of conversations that they have. And they try to dress it up as something intellectual. And I'm like, where's the intellectualism here? No facts, no citing of sources, no citations, no scientific um experiments or anything like that they tried, no theory. It's crazy, man. It's real crazy out here, man.
Dude,
That would
let me
never
tell you.
happen. Go ahead.
Let me tell you. I get on the panel and I tell them. I said, "Hey, the parents are responsible for the child legally,
Mhm.
and that they're actually accountable." And these same dudes was telling me that little girls sneak out the window. I was like, no. Do
Yeah.
you know they do? Children lie. I'm like, bro, that is no excuse for you know what I'm saying. Then I had another person say, well, we can't watch our kids because we got to work 2 or 3 jobs. And I said, what's more important? I said, what's more important?
Hmm.
And I went back to listen to it. They took the whole stream down, man.
Oh yeah, that's what they do. That's exactly what they do, because they don't want us responding to it. But you know, like a Roger Clemens, Greg Maddux fastball, man, Nolan Ryan, I caught that. I caught that, fam.
Yeah.
So I said, man, I was taking down some points, man, because I was like, they're not going to get away with this. I'm not letting you get away with that. I'm not letting you go around, call Black Ram and all the other black men in the manosphere pedos. I heard when you were on the panel. I heard them, you know, um, kind of doing their little shuffle over there, man.
Dude, I'm telling you, it's like, man, so you pretty much telling me it's nothing you can do because children are just going to do things and it's out of your control as a parent. I'm not buying it.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I know my background and my family black background, and I wasn't allowed to even listen to rap music, bro. Like,
Hmm.
I, you know what I'm saying? I wasn't allowed to just roam the streets freely. Like when I jumped off the porch, my family told me I was off the porch. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
And you are on your own. like that was a clean break. That's what I had.
Yeah.
I wasn't able to do what I wanted to do, living with the people I was living with in my family. Like,
Most predominantly black places that I've seen, they have bars on the windows on the first floor. So the idea that, oh, well, people just climb through windows, come on, man, this is like
it's like, yo, you let your daughter go to the concert, right? You don't expect that to happen. I was like, bro, you drop your daughter off and you pick your daughter up. There is no catching a ride. There's no, you know what I'm saying? There's no
Mhm.
idle time anywhere for people to take advantage of your children. Like, what are y'all talking about?
Yeah, most of these people don't even work.
That was,
You got a job. Are you busy? What are you busy doing? What?
yo, and it was like, yo, your kid could get sexually abused at school. And I'm like, what would make your child a target? You
Mhm.
not going to parent teacher conferences. They know you're not involved with the child. They know you make your child a target.
Mhm.
And whenever you get to that true accountability, that's where they see their failures, bro. And that's when you gonna get this pedophile pushback. And I keep saying it, bro. It's gonna be two groups of black people, and one group is going to attack the other one.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, the way they're making it seem, and from what I heard, you know, well, 21 is still a kid. 21 is still a baby to me. Really, the U.S. government doesn't agree with you. U.S. government doesn't agree with you. I mean, what's next? You're gonna get a Gerber seat for your 21-year-old and have them rear facing Gerber seats.
This is nuts.
It's
This is
crazy.
nuts.
I mean, it's absolutely crazy. What are they doing? Feeding them, giving their daughter sippy cups.
Yo,
Infamil at 21 years old.
come on, man. Come on, man. We know what the teenage pregnancy rate is.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, come on, man. And when it happens, it's kids gonna be kids. It's like, no, they're not. Everybody's not letting their children go nuts, and it's so normalized that they'll actually tell you like, oh, that's what they do. They sneak out the window, and that's just how it is. Like, no, it's not.
Yeah, yo, Omega Dreads is wilding in the chat, man. He said 200 years old is now the new 20. Oh
Yo.
man, oh man. But yeah, that's the sort of conversations they have over there, man. And they'll you don't agree with them, you're a pedo. You don't agree with them, you're a lame.
But
Um,
that's where it starts. That's what I'm saying. They pretty much tell you they don't care about what's going on the other side. And we willing to sabotage, degrade, and destroy you motherfuckers to make our non-point.
mhm. Yeah, absolutely, man. And it's not so much that they're moving the goalposts, but they're kind of trying to tar and feather you. Before, like I said, it started off years ago as educated lames. Then it went to recently incels. Everybody is old boy from what was it, San Bernardino or San Fernando?
Yeah.
Elliot Rogers, right? Everybody's Elliot Rogers now in the black community. We have a lot of Elliot Rogers now. No evidence, but just a lot of Elliot Rogers. And then it went to um, this Gaydar thing, right? Now everybody is Malik Yoba, everybody's this, everybody's that now. If you don't agree with them, just only if you don't agree with them. If you agree with them, then your credibility in terms of being conscious and pro-black is not to be questioned now. So your integrity is now protected. You're under this umbrella of security.
And it's subsidized by the comfort of the internet.
Mm-hmm. It's subsidized by super chats.
Nah, you can't make this shit up, man. I'm telling you, it's wild out there when you start picking these pea brains and you start realizing nobody's home.
Yeah. Omega Dreads in the chat says hating on men for having passports. That's another thing, right? That's recently, right? This passport gate. You're going to Brazil. You're going to DR for underage women now.
I just hate how everything is tied to sexuality, bro. Like whatever issues they have
Mhm.
somehow rounds its way back to sexuality. You can't take care of your kids, you sexuality problem. You're having
Mhm.
problems with your social standing, comes back to sexual problems. You got this, it comes back to sexual problem, or you got issues within yourself. It's like, what's with the
Mhm.
personal attacks?
Yeah, it's all ad hominem attacks, man. All ad hominem attacks. You're not allowed to criticize them, man. They basically have created a uh, a genre of censorship where they can go around silencing people, man, making you disappear because um, either they dox you or they'll accuse you of something that you can't get yourself out of. Before, with Trump supporters, it was about Russian bots and stuff like that. Fake news. I mean, literally, they're pushing fake news in the manosphere, fake information. And I said this the other day that we're in an information war. We're in a big information war. Before the Black Brain Trust, there was no one really speaking on our behalf, right? On the brothers' behalf, right? Prior to that, what they were doing, they was articulating this sort of um, disgusting image of black males in these academic spaces and upward mobility spaces of upward mobility as Urkel. Everybody's Urkel, right? Bifocals, suspenders. I've been on campuses. I've never seen these type of guys before. I've graduated undergrad, never seen these type of guys before. I work in these spaces, never seen these type of guys before. Never. Come on the Black Brain Trust. You never see these type of guys on these panels. Where are they getting this from? Right. So
Nah.
yeah. So what they've been able to do prior to the channel's existence is that they've been able to control that narrative for a long time, and people believe it until they actually run into us, and then they're like, "Oh, okay." So they're losing control over the narrative. So now what they've done is they've moved to the next step, which is to slander your character by saying, you're pedo, passport gate, gaydar. Now somehow they have this like red line passport system, in their cars, and it could pick up VHF and UHF frequencies and stuff like that, different bands, radar detecting.
But you know what, Mike? You know what? In the hood, bro, when you make sense of somebody and
Mhm.
then hit them in that spot, that a motherfucker say, "But you can't whoop me though."
Oh yeah, the threat of violence, right? The threat of violence. I'll beat you up.
Yeah.
I'll do something to you just because you're right. So you being right doesn't mean anything anymore. I'll stab your tires. I'll key up your car. I'll bust your windows. I'll spray paint it. It's crazy, man. This is the
No, man.
level. This is the level of you know the level that they're willing to stoop down to, man. How low are they willing to go, right? Their inability to hold a conversation, to even bring up to cite their sources about Jay-Z. I mean, it's just so stupid. It's so stupid, right? Foxy Brown hasn't even come out and said anything like this, and yet you got them saying this type of stuff on behalf of Foxy Brown. And they getting away with it, and no one questions it. On that side, at least, they don't question it. Over here, that would never fly. I would never let, or we would never let anybody come on this panel and accuse another person of something that they haven't done. That just wouldn't fly over here, man. I heard what they said about Black Ram. I heard what they said about Mr. Fantastic this week. I was like, that's crazy.
uh, Fantastic had a classic stream today, bro.
Yeah, I heard that. I heard that. It's gone now, but it's definitely dope, man. It was dope.
No, but I mean, the emperor don't wear no clothes with these guys, man. It only take like 2 minutes of talking to him, and then the whole shit get fucking exposed, dog. Like, there's no
They,
way around it.
Yeah, the emperor don't wear no thongs. That's really what it is. The emperor doesn't wear no lace fronts.
Yo, hey, what's the legal age of consent? But you can't whoop me though. Why you still talking about that? Why you still talking about that though? Nigga still want to talk about the legal age. He still talking about the legal age.
Crazy.
Bro, it's nuts, man. I see the motherfucker just break down and start saying, "Where's your Becky? Show me your Becky." It's like, whoa, where did that come from?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, yeah. Show your work, right? You got to show who. I've never heard of this before though. You got to show your show who the women that you're dating now. So it's another shaming tactic to keep you quiet so that they can have control over the narrative. We have to keep pushing back against these things, man. You have to keep pushing back against these people to the point where they have no other place other than to leave, because the energy is too strong and the evidence is too credible over here, that you're not going to get away with that. You're not just going to go around, accusing people by name of something that they haven't,
But you know what, Mike? When I got on that panel, I just realized, dang, man, like, you know what? These people, like, you feel like, oh, they slow. Like they really are. Like they really are like no bullshit. Like you'd be like, wow, like they don't have all the marbles. Like they really don't. Like it's not there for
Mike.
them.
Yes, sir.
Good evening, everybody.
Shalom, man.
One of the things, have you ever considered that there's somewhere in the manosphere or whatever the other side is called themselves, that there's somebody who sits down, think up these talking points, and hands them to them and say, "Let's go talk about this."
Script.
Because they come up with one idea,
Mm-hmm.
like black men are no good.
Mm-hmm.
They're dogs.
Mm-hmm.
And after black men come out and jump on that and say, hey, guess who is our mothers? You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
They switch. They come up with another black men are useless because they don't build anything.
Mm-hmm.
After somebody come up and ditch it and prove that idea is a farce, then they move on to another one. And it's always one particular point that everybody jumps on.
Mm-hmm.
You hear one person come up with it, and then everybody on that side jumps on that and start running with it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And especially now when you got, like last night we were on Black Round, and when you were on BGS, and when you're going around proving, when everybody's talking about what black men are doing and proving it, now they got to come up with something that gonna tar every black man. Like my brother was saying, that's not. It's like pedo. It covers everything. You can't escape from on that umbrella if you're the man now. Let us see how you're gonna escape from on that umbrella. That's the kind of foolishness that used to be going on. And to me, it seems like there's one person, somebody somewhere that sits back and feeds these things into that atmosphere and let them run with it.
Yeah, let's go to Cyberdon. He got his hand up. What's going on, fam?
What's going on, everybody? It was a nice stream you guys had yesterday. I saw y'all on Black Ram. I stayed in for a little bit, but I've been kind of sitting back and taking care of things. So I'm in the background watching in the back cave, man. So
okay.
I to that point, I kind of blame some of the other channels in the manosphere for even being willing to do panels with them. You know what I'm saying? And from what I found out, because sometimes when I am sitting back in the back cave, I'm doing exploits, so I'm a little bit everywhere, but do a little infiltration practice, But what I found out was that actually they have moderators over there with dub, what I call dub accounts, on that side. So it's like, if you notice on a lot of their streams, if you analyze people that are there, people with wrenches, people that do things, they have a lot of moderators there, and they have a lot of dub or backup or fake accounts. And they propose a lot of the material to keep it going. And they'll pretend that it's like this big user base, when it really isn't. It's really a small group of people, seeming larger than what they are. And what they do, or what they're doing, is what I call, basically, they're liquidizing attention. And pretty much like they're liquidizing attention, basically, cashing out for attention via views. And what they've done is, like you said, first there was a particular narrative where they it was the educated lame, or it was this, or it was that. And then they jumped off, springboarded to who you're dating, who they really choose. We all know kind of the subject of this title. The person that's really driving that, we know who it is. Pick the perfect title tonight. And then now they're going to the pedo thing. But what's interesting is that, to be honest, and I might come under fire for saying this, I don't really think the pedo thing, the whole pedo approach, really gonna take off too far. And I'll tell you guys why. Because number one, if you really wanted to get them up out of the ring, if you really wanted to get them up out of there, social media has a big impact on a person's personal life and stuff like that. So, a really well crafted argument to YouTube, there's more than enough evidence, because they're basically doing it in videos. And so if you argued it a certain way, if people view that as true pedophilia, and you could use the evidence of where a person's losing views, or for those people who care about monetization, very strong argument there. The other thing is that, for us being thinking black men, and Black Ram, like I said, I was in and out of that session yesterday because I was just doing a lot of stuff. But one thing that I would propose is the social media version of a steel curtain, just like the Raiders. And basically, all of the prominent thinking black men, we basically, and channels, we link arms for leverage, and we basically form a steel curtain, and we turn our back on them, like literally, like basically a YouTube blackballing, an official blackballing of, we're not going to engage any panels with you. We're not going to argue on any panels with you. We're not going to give you any light. We're going to bury you underneath the axis of the earth, not in the ground, but up under the axis of the earth itself. Who knows what's down there? But, that way there's no more oxygen. Because basically what they'll do, they'll say, well, pedophile, pedophilia this, pedophilia that, and they'll try to attack people in YouTube, which they're already doing. I sat and watched what they did at the Black Ram, and I saw I looked at the videos a couple times with Fantastic, and how he did the one-on-one with one of the cats, man, and it went nowhere. But what I realized as I looked at all those and took a step back, sipped some tea, I was like, have to deprive their brain of oxygen, put them in a headlock, so to speak, and take away their air. And right now, that air is the fact, because if you think about it, their little strategy, it's been working to their advantage. They've gained a little bump up, but it's only because of the back and forth. And so in this case, we form that steel wall of curtain, keep on spitting our good knowledge and good game, and all those other guys out there, Black Ram and Fantastic and the many others, King Sig, spitting that good game, but form that steel curtain and just take away the oxygen of attention. We're not going to even address you. We're not going to talk about you. You can call me pedophile up and down the street. You don't got no court documents to back it up. So really, I'm not advocating drug dealing, but like I learned in the streets, the prosecution can say whatever they want in court, but if the charges don't stick, the charges don't stick. I walk out a free man and continue to do what I'm doing, and nothing happens. I want to say, in closing that, I ain't gonna call him out, but he know who he is. He drops in on it sometimes. He's a cool brother, but fam gotta quit giving them room to breathe and airtime on his panels and his chats and his rumbles on Sundays.
No, let's not say that, because we can't dictate what goes on somebody else's panel in terms of how they run it.
I know that's just an opinion. It's just an opinion, but I'm just saying,
Yeah, but what I'm saying here is that people run their channels for different reasons, whether it's for profit or not for profit. So you can't really offer an opinion on that. But what I will say here is that because those people that we're referring to right now did not appear on those other panels. It's only on a certain segment of YouTube. It's kind of like a back alley or something like that, or a trap house, man. I mean, it exists, but we don't really know what goes on in there unless we stick our heads in there, man, like with the code enforcement. But to this point, because I've never heard it on that other platform. I've only heard it on a certain platform. And what I find interesting is that they don't get challenged on their platform because they're pretty much all in cahoots with each other. So when you say blackballing, man, a lot of those BMs, man, they're worried about getting blue balls. So the color of their balls is all mixed up anyways, man. So let me go down some of these points that I took down, man.
I just want to say, brother, before you continue.
Yes, sir. What's going on?
Greetings to all the brothers on the panel and the chat. Y'all already know that Haiti here. I'm just a fly on the wall. I'm coming in live from Quito, Choco, Colombia. So hopefully everybody's doing well, and everybody's been building their mind, body, and spirit. And that's it for me.
Yo, how's the weather down there? How long you been down there for?
I've been in the country since the 15th of September.
Oh, wow.
Yes, sir. And I'll actually be here until February, maybe the second or third week of February. I leave for Ghana from Miami on the 11th, 12-hour layover in Portugal, in Lisbon. And I should arrive in Accra if the ancestors allow it on the 12th. The weather here is nice. The weather here is nice. It's basically similar to Florida weather. There isn't much of a breeze because we're on the Pacific region, and it is hilly, but not as much as Antioquia or basically Medellin. I mean, it's nothing but valleys, and the expression that the camera doesn't do injustice really rings true. But it's nice. It's nice. It's black, and then I'm chilling. I'm chilling. So trust me, I'm in no position to complain. Obviously, I'm not going to waste my time or bring my consciousness down, even giving any light to Passport Gate. That's for brothers back in the Matrix on the battlefield to go ahead and thug it out. I'm just here. It reminds me of the meme. I can't remember the name of the reality show. That the white girl, she's crying and she's pointing, and you see the cat just looking like, yo, what the fuck is going on? Like, that's me right now. Everybody going back and forth with Passport Gate and situations like this, and I'm just a cat at the table, like, yo, I'm chilling right now, man. I'm completely oblivious to this, man. Knock yourselves out.
It's dope that you're down there, man. Will you be able to attend the Haiti talk on Saturday that we're gonna have?
Yes, I actually have that reminder and
Okay.
my Wi-Fi actually just was fixed today. So I'll make sure that I'll do the best I can. That because it's Saturday, Quibdó is the capital of Choco, but it's really more of a big town instead of a city. So I might be diddy bopping around. I mean, I don't want to call it a downtown, but I might be, I might be in the spots. But if I'm home by any chance, at the very least, um, I'll go ahead and show my face. Obviously, I don't want to speak on anything, even as a Haitian that I don't know, or at least I haven't been given information on. But I still have people and family down there. I got a lot of criminals who've been deported, a lot of Haitian Pookie, Ray Rays, Jean Jeans, and everybody else who's been deported. So, they keep me posted. I might, if I can be ADD about it, I might go ahead and slide to Brazil off GP. I actually came here on a one-way ticket and they didn't ask me for return ticket. So I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. And I know that at least in Colombia, you can actually extend your 90 days online. Not only that, but because I'll be here past the year, like I can literally do another 180 more days. But the ancestors are calling me back home, so I'll be able to do that. So if any of you brothers by any chance might be in Brazil or know anybody in Brazil, obviously you guys have my email, and I much appreciate it. It was never I've never had the inclination for Brazil, but I said, you know what, just to be petty about passport game, just to be petty, let me go and slide out to Brazil and see what the liquid is over there.
Yeah, that's dope, man. That's dope. The hangout for Saturday, man, is about showing solidarity with Haitians, man, domestic and abroad, man, just to show our support for them.
Yeah, and you know what? I've actually gotten nothing but love out here in Quibdó or what have you. I got these two brass African. It might be size. I got big hands, but it might be like I want to say 4 or 5 inches, and they're wide and long. So it garners attention. It's coming from the motherland, and people ask me where I'm from. I tell them that I'm a Haitian American or what have you, and they ask me why I come to this city specifically, and I say, yo, because I'm black. This is our culture. And I will say this: I'm beating a dead horse here. I'm going to be redundant because this is a panel and chat of thinking black men. But all this copper-colored tone, aborigine, Negro, it goes out the window because in Choco, in Quibdó, there's an indigenous community. And these are real deal holy field. These are not $5 Indians. As a matter of fact, you can actually see I'm going to say Asian, but we know that the slanted eyes originated in the motherland. But you can actually see the Asian features from thousands of years ago. I mean, again, if the theories are to be believed about Asians crossing from the Bering Strait on down to the Americas, basically they look like Mexicans. Long story short, with standard eyes, and the women, copper colored, long pitch black, bone straight hair. I'm talking about complete 180, and they actually have around the city too. Some of them walk bare feet. They have the colors on, and they actually have the markings on their hands, on their arms, on their mouths. Is absolutely gorgeous. So whenever you hear a Puerto Rican, Dominican, excuse me, talk about, oh, I'm indigenous, they're a bunch of rappers, because the indigenous here, like, they actually speak the language of their fathers. In addition to Spanish. So much so is actually more difficult for them to learn English than everybody else because they speak their indigenous language as well.
Yo, thank you for that, man. Definitely a dope update, man. Hope to see you on Saturday, man, for that solidarity, man, that we're gonna host, man.
Say no more, beloved.
Yes, sir. Let's go to Super Triz, man. He's been quiet, man. He popped up on the scene. So what's popping, Triz?
Hold, what's going on, Mike? I had to mute my mic. Am I coming in?
We can hear you fine, man. We'll swing back around to you.
You said what?
We can hear you fine. We'll swing back around to you.
Okay.
All right. All right, let me get to some of these points, man. The other statements that were made was like white WWs who date out to BMs are trash. Now, this is a funny statement because there's an assumption that BMs who date WWs are getting the lesser quality WWs of the W community. I work in IT. I've been in the tech field for over 10 years. Those sort of areas, and even during undergrad, those sort of areas of socioeconomics don't really have what they're describing. So there's this narrative that is being put out there that upwardly mobile BMs are pursuing low-income, government-assisted WWs. These are two different demographics. These are two totally different demographics. If you ever go to Harvard or MIT, you're far removed from those areas of poverty. So human interactions are based on proximity. So if you're on MIT's campus, if you're on Harvard's campus, if you're on BC's campus, you're going to run around with people who are of not just like mine, but socioeconomic backgrounds. And the narrative that is being put out there is that these low-income BWs are in the same vicinity as the upwardly mobile BMs. This is far from the truth. This is a false narrative that is being put out there. And when I hear them say these type of things, it makes me think that they've never really been around BMs who are upwardly mobile. They've never seen that before. They've never been around that before. I can tell you firsthand that the WWs who are after these or interacting with these type of brothers, nah, they from very because in order to get to those schools, you have to come from a certain background. You just can't show up, out of a trailer park. That just doesn't work. It doesn't work like that. And even if you could, you would have to be the best of the best of your environment to even get in there and survive. They don't just take anybody. So when I hear them talk, it makes me think that a little saucy there, a little saucy. And then the polar opposite is true for BWs, right? So the idea here is that when BWs date out, they date the WMs who are high quality and high stock. But I always ask the question, if that's the case, show me the WMs who are uplifting BWs above their parent, above their mother. I've never seen that before. I've never seen a WM uplift a BW above their white mothers. Never seen that. So this narrative that's being put out there is that somehow when BWs date out, they date the best. I've never seen that before. We see in social media that all the BWs who are pursuing these WMs are pursuing bottom shelf bread or the icy hot stunners. That's what we see. That's what's being presented. So where is the evidence for what they're saying? Well, what's this director's name? Not the director, the actor. Not Al Pacino. What's the other brother's name?
De Niro.
Yeah, De Niro. They're trying to say, well, De Niro has been with this BW for so many years, and when BWs get with WMs, you know, their the relationships are more authentic. How the fuck do you know that?
As a matter of fact, he actually they actually divorced, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Not too,
That divorce get nasty too.
Or yeah. They just you're right. Yeah.
Where are you getting this from, right? Like I said, I've never seen a BW go into a WM's household and get uplifted above the WM's mother. And I've never seen a BW exercise her consciousness within the WM's household. There will be no tambourines and RGB flags, and incense burning in his house. He's not going to tolerate that. There will be no hashtagging in his house. No BLM, none of that stuff. There will be no gender fluidity and alphabet soup and stuff like that going on. That doesn't happen, man. You know it doesn't happen, but they'll paint that story as if it does, man. Go ahead, Ty City.
No, hey, you ain't lying, man. Shit, you know, I date outside my race. I don't date black women exclusively, so I don't hear no lies, man.
Tell them. Listen, I wish we was like in the same city, and they had like their little section. Because I ain't gonna, I don't stunt. I'm a quiet brother. I don't say much. But man, listen, I can pull the drawer and pull a cache of multicultural sisters out that'll make them feel real bad, real bad every day. Stunt city, every day, a different color other than the color that they want to see, looking good, whatever. And maybe, well, nah, I ain't gonna propose that. Let me be quiet. One quick thing. Gabe, I know you out there. I know you hear me, baby. Listen, we on the same team. And you can't confuse my opinion with the collective opinion. I apologize, man, because maybe I shouldn't have solicited Gabe's perspective a couple of chat sessions ago, man. I kind of thought about that. And I re-listened to some of these broadcasts, and I hash over them. I take jewels out of them, what's already there. So maybe I shouldn't have done that. I think Gabe thinks that I'm being a bit hypocritical, and I can understand why, but I'm not. I support the position of being quiet sometimes, and sometimes, that right hand and that left hook got to come across. But you pick your spots. I ain't saying be quiet all the time. Sometimes somebody got to get popped in the mouth, and then you be quiet and put your hands in your pocket. And usually they'll shut on up after that. But, just wanted to slide it out there. I'm with you, Gabe. Let your hands go at all times.
Yeah, let's go to Super Trish. He got his hand up, man.
Hey, what's going on? I live here in Washington, Washington State. I'm away from my parents. My parents live in Texas. I left home at 17, so it's not a big deal. But I try to keep in touch with them. My parents are older. My dad had me later in life, especially considering the time. So I had a talk with him this morning, 3-hour talk, over 3 hours. Really cut into my sleep time, but it's worth it having my conversation with my father. And because he's of the age that he's in, his experiences may be a little bit different from a lot of people's parents because he just comes from that era, and he comes from the South. He lived in Chicago, went to high school in Chicago, lived in Cleveland when he was in college, and so he just has like a little bit different perspective. And one of the things that he was telling me was that my grandmother, his mother, was married at 15. Married to a 17-year-old who went to war at 18 and died in combat. And so when you look at things from that perspective, right, you have somebody, getting married at 15, and look at the outcomes of Black families, respective to their circumstances, right? And you'll see that whatever narrative that they want to append to men dating women of a certain age, really, when you look at the outcomes of women dating men, in modern times, the outcomes really don't compare, especially in light of all of the opportunities that we have now, and still you have the outcomes that you see. That's number one. Number two, the whole DJ Kid situation, DJ Package.
Icy Hot Stunner.
Yeah. According to my father, this conversation that we had just this morning, that's been going on. Been going on. So that's nothing new as far as, I know it's a revelation to a lot of men, but it's really not anything that hasn't been done before, and that hasn't been going on under wraps within the community. He said he knew of somebody when he was a kid, and at the time these were adults. A guy was married to a woman, a BM and a BW were married. This was in the South. We're talking about, in the 50s, 60s, somewhere around there. And she had kids outside of her marriage. Now, while she was married. And those kids, everybody knew whose kids they were. And they were kids to a WM landowner who used to buy land from ADOS families who were trying to leave the South. So as if they had land, whatever reason they had land, and they wanted to go up north to escape Jim Crow and the oppression that they experienced in the South, he would buy the land from them. And so and there was a lot of ADOS families at that time who owned land, believe it or not, in the South, but they relinquished their land because they were attempting to escape the grips of oppression and racism that they're going through at the time. So at any rate, also when we look at this whole situation about quote unquote pedophilia, is my last thought. You talked about in some of the impoverished communities or lower socioeconomic status communities that are mainly populated by ADOS individuals, and how they have bars on their windows and pretty much to keep a certain criminal element out of their homes and to protect their personal property. But in reality, and then I think Ty City mentioned about people sneaking out or Ty City mentioned that there was a concern from some panel members about people sneaking out. But in reality, a lot of the problems stem from within the home, especially when you're talking about pedophilia. We understand that most of the perpetrators are by family members. Most of the perpetrators are by people who are known to the individual who's the victim.
Right.
And you look at the even like in what we see in the media, there's oftentimes teachers, people in the community that are known, church members, things of that nature. So it's not like it's just random guys. I mean, there are guys who specifically go around, and looking for young women, but that's really a small minority. A lot of the times, the problem is their own family members.
Right.
And a lot of times, the reason why these family members are allowed to engage in this sort of behavior is because you have other family members, primarily women, who turn a blind eye. They allow their children to be victimized. That's reality. So when they want to talk about people being pedophiles and how this pedophile is allowed to persist, they need to look in the mirror, because it's the women that allow their children to be victimized. They have men running in and out of the home that they barely know, and they're entrusting their children to these men, sitting up in the house, eating up all the kids' food, and while they're away, these men are taking advantage of their children. And so these are relationships that these women have established and maintained and fostered that precipitates their children falling victim to quote unquote pedophiles. And I'll leave it at that.
Not the man that's eating the kids' food though. You hit them below the belt with that one, baby. I like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I want to go back to this one point, man, about this Gaydar thing. And they brought up Malik Yoba. In regards to Icy Hot Stunner, he said he had 600 plus BWs on his list, right? They said, well, how, this other group said that, well, how do we know that's true? He could be lying, but somehow Malik Yoba is telling the truth because he's a BM. You see how that works? So there's a perspective that they're taking that says, if said person in that mission is a WM, we have to question the validity of the statement, whether it's true or not. But if it's a BM, it has to be true because it's a BM, nothing less. So the accusation of a hashtag and pedo is true because it's a BM. But for the WM, we don't really know for sure if it's really 600, if the number is really 600. Because they said, well, how do you know that? Well, how do you know that this other guy did the same thing, right? This other BM did the same thing. We don't know that. But because it's a BM, it has to be true. So there's a anti-BM movement reoccurring in these discussions where it criminalizes and indicts BMs based on the fact of their gender. So this is more hate speech coming from that group. And it's very dangerous and reckless, man, accusing BMs of certain things that they have no evidence of, but clear evidence of what they're doing on their side, but that's not to be discussed. This is what people are going up against. When you talk about building a community, who are you going to be building it with? Them? How long do you think that's going to last for?
See, Mike, yes, it is dangerous, but for them it's not reckless because they can say this without repercussion. Nobody anywhere is going to come down hard on them except the black men that they're talking about. Mm-hmm. And when they come, you'll see most of their supporters are in between all their supporters, black men.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And those black, those BMs, you want to make sure we use these terms. Those BMs are opportunistic. Any sort of validation that they can get from the BWs, they'll jump at the opportunity to take advantage of. And we have consequences in other countries for how you deal with traitors or people who are treasonous. But let me get to the next points. Who's just trying to speak?
No, I was just gonna say I call them bot nation, man. Them bots. Mm-hmm. Bot nation, gag nation.
Mm-hmm. Next point is that BMs are antagonizing BWs in social media. We have something called the manosphere. The manosphere is a social section within social media, more importantly, YouTube, that BMs conjugate at in order to share their own dialogue without without interference from non-BMs. So I've been on YouTube since 2006, man. And I saw how things went down. You had a group called BMV, which is Black Men Vent. Shout out to Mr. Legend. Shout out to Don Calypso. Shout out to that whole team. They were one of the first groups of BMs that I ran into in my inception of being on social media. They were very articulate. They were pretty much straight to the point. And they were conservative. And they were having these sort of discussions back in 2007, 2008. And what happened was they were being attacked for lack of a better description, by non-BMs. They were coming in there and they would challenge all these points, and they're like, "Whoa, you guys are tyrants because you want women to be stay-at-home mothers and stuff like that." What woman in their right mind would turn down the opportunity to not work and stay home and raise children and have a white picket fence and a two-car garage? What woman would turn that down? Right? It's so silly to even think of that. BMs are oppressing or are using oppressive language against BWs because they want a stable society. That's always been BMV's perspective, that in order to stabilize the environment, you have to have some kind of arranged marriages and things of that nature. And what happened here was that BWs invaded what we know now as the manosphere. They invaded it, flagging videos, doing responses to brothers, and not allowing a real conversation to take place because they did not like the narrative. They didn't like that. And so when I hear these accusations that BMs are antagonizing BWs on YouTube, a lot of people don't know their history on YouTube. A lot of people don't know that the manosphere, was a 1.0. It existed long before a lot of who you see today. Not that there's anything wrong with people who claim 2.0 or anything like that. There was groups of people there before who were driving a lot of these discussions. And fairly decent, if not high performing discussions that were articulating a lot of the grievances that Black men had or BMs had. So the next accusation is that BMs put WWs on the pedestal. I always find this interesting because BMs always wear their hair natural. You don't see BMs running around with two pieces and lace fronts and anything like that, man. I see a lot of BMs walking around with dreadlocks and things like that, neatly done. How come you can't take care of your own hair, your own epidermis, but you want to accuse other people of putting WWs on the pedestal when it's really BWs who do that, right? They're the ones who get lightening up the skin.
Dear brother, do you mean WWs wear their hair natural?
No. What I'm saying here is that BWs don't. They're the ones who put the WWs on the pedestal.
Okay.
To emulate the aesthetic of the WW, but want to say it's because BMs do it. In reality, that's not the case. So what they've been pointing to is that BMs are going after WWs because they hate themselves. This is far from the truth, right? We on this panel know that. Anybody else want to have a dig at the accusation that BMs put WWs on the pedestal?
No, we don't. We don't. No, it's a decent woman.
I definitely don't put no group of women over another group of women. Like, to me, they all, as far as like aesthetics and whatnot, like I like my white girls white, my black girls black, my Asian, my Mexican man. Like, you know what I'm saying? It do get kind of funky where you see a group of women just going to the extreme with the shit. Whoa.
It might, but it doesn't look like the other way around, that they find themselves in black male spaces because they see black men of worth as something of a prize. And the other night you had you started out with this, you started out showing that, and I think it's 2 nights ago on the chat.
Yep, Tuesday.
They come to your space. They say, you know what? This is the kind of man that I want to be around. This is the kind of man that I want. Because of so and so and so. But the other way around, our own women don't do that. They'd rather go on Instagram. They go and poison their bodies with all kind of foolishness rather than go to school And even when they go to school and get a degree, they still do the foolishness that keep them out of black intelligent male spaces.
Yeah, I
Hey,
agree with you. Go
hey,
right
Mike.
ahead.
Hey, no, I'm gonna get off on D's point because I went to private school all my life, and I'm gonna be flat out honest with you guys on this one. When I tell you them white fathers beat out that want in their daughters, they do that. What I mean by that is their daughters would be like, "Daddy, I want this, this, and this." That is not who you gonna marry. I got a friend of mine when I was in high school. Her name was Crystal, and her mama, from the time she was 8, maybe, you gonna marry a lawyer, you gonna marry a doctor, you gonna marry an engineer.
Mhm.
What if I don't love him? Give a shit. That's what you marry. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And you're seeing how when like I'm in Austin, Texas, you'll see how these black dudes come here with software degrees, software engineering degrees, certificates. Man, these white girls picking these niggas up like, you still single? How are you still single? And the sisters over here are having a tough time because they not knowing how to go after these dudes. You know what I mean? So a lot of these dudes be like, I wasn't wanted by sisters all my life. I was considered nerdy. Now all of a sudden, I got these other girls in my face. Now sisters want me. You know what I mean? So, and I'm not talking about no low level hanging fruit Becky's. I'm talking about some damn high quality. I'd be looking at these dudes like, that's your chick? And he's like, yeah, that's my girl, man. She came got in my face and, kind of been whoop to whoop. We've been doing our thing.
Well, see, Michael,
Go ahead.
That's like part of my gripe with the whole wedlock thing. Like, they think that because two people that shouldn't have been with each other in the first place didn't get married, that things would have been better. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's like at least
it's
having enough
weird.
common sense. At least they got enough common sense to know. That's what I tell, like I get on my daughter sometimes. She 10. I said, at least white women got enough sense to know he might be a bad dude. He might be a fuck off. And him or he just might be some dude I'm fucking right now. But they're not gonna have a baby by that nigga.
Oh man, white girls
Follow
go
me.
crazy. WMs go crazy in college. They ain't getting
Yeah, that's what
pregnant
I'm
though.
saying. They go man crazy in college, but they not finna come out with no baby because it's beat into their brain. White men, apologize, WMs do not want to take care of another man kids. Period.
Right.
And they are seeing that they're seeing that buried out in the stats now. That 30% of women under the age of 30, 55% of them have children across all demographics. And
Yeah.
these dudes are saying, I'm out. I'm not taking care of your kid. Do what you want to do.
Yeah, that's actually a good point. The thing is that BMs have the highest rate of taking care of non-biological offspring, meaning that the birth certificate of a lot of these children have a non-biological parent's name on it. And unfortunately, a lot of BMs don't even know that that's not their offspring. And it's unfortunate that paternity fraud is so massive in the community, but nobody wants to talk about it, right? There's a lot of
They did a study, Mike, that talks about 1/3 of married men's children. They're not biologically related to them children. They just had one on. I don't know if y'all watched it, guys. Sometimes I kind of check out what he has. Sometimes Stefan Molyneux had this chick who got pregnant by this other dude. It's an interesting conversation how she just kept making excuses. She got pregnant by this other dude, but her fiance doesn't know that it's not his kid. And she's literally she's like, I'm still going to marry him, forcing this dude to be with her. But he think it's his kid though.
Well,
And
see, the thing with that is they stay married because they know it'll come out in a divorce.
No, but the thing is, it's beneficial to them. They have understand how to weaponize marriage, right? At the end of the day, other groups of people know marriage ain't about no fucking love. It's a business contract, right? At the end of the day, like I was telling a friend of mine, she asked me a question. She's like, she says, what do you think is going to happen in the future? I says, men are hopefully going to be able to pick their daughters' husbands. But at the end of the day, you're going to have to buy your daughter a husband, which they used to do back in the day, which was, I'm gonna get this nigga 40 goats, 5 pieces, 5 acres of land, so he don't run off with her, right? That's what men had to do back in the day to understand how to keep a man. You got to make the deal beneficial for men to want to be in relationships with you. That's the reason why you hear this bullcrap with Black Ram and all other dudes. These dudes are at a loss of what to do with their daughters. You know what I'm saying? And instead of the Black Brain Trust always preaches, Mike, and I want to salute you on this one, dog, because I didn't know it was this easy. I saw this video with this guy. He was talking about you can go get an SQL degree, a certification. I think it's Tableau or Taboo. Can't remember.
Tableau.
Yeah, Tableau. He says you can go bang that out. And he said he banged his out in 3 months, 6 hours a day. So I'm thinking on average, you could do it within a year with an hour and a half of invested time in, right?
Yeah.
But he said he banged his out in 6 hours a day for 3 months and walked to. He said he had an accounting degree. Right. And then he said that he left accounting and went to being a programmer. Now he's a software engineer, but he just is like the easiest way if you don't have any programming language, if you come from a totally different background, you can get an SQL certificate with Oracle, using Oracle, and then get a Tableau programming language. Bang those two out. Tableau. I apologize. And he says then you can basically go apply for an entry-level job making $70K walking out. He's like, think about it. 3 months, 6 months, you can change your whole world if you just apply yourself. And the fact to me is, you all these guys that are mad about, these dudes going overseas and stuff like that. All you have to do is change your world in 6 months, dude. You can put your children in a better position. You can give them a better argument. You can start building your legacy and empire, having your daughters. Like some dudes just have nothing but daughters, right? But now my father has these businesses and he's a big guy in tech or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, it amazes me, when you had said it, it was funny. And then you see these other folks saying it. And you're just like, dude, in 3 months, this nigga did it in 3 fucking months. Or this is how those Indians are doing it overseas. I didn't even going to college, dog. You know what I'm saying? They're just basically taking these certification courses and knocking them out real quick. So.
Yeah, to an extent that does work. But college is more about networking than it is about the academic aspect of it. The ability to actually build those social networks is actually going to be very important. And if you're not a part of those social networks, is your ability to scale within the industry is going to be difficult because it's who you know, not what you know.
No, I agree with that, but I'm just saying in terms of if you back to your flightless bird argument, in 3 months, 6 months, any of those people over there could go get a degree and change the whole world and be doing something that's a starting point to keep them ahead of what's on this upcoming automation, changing economic system that's going to happen here in the next 4 years. I call it by 2023. That's my timeline.
Yeah.
You can stay ahead, and that's 4 years from now. That's still enough time for you to get that, and then hopefully keep bettering your skills over and over and over again. But it's this. At the end of the day, be honest with you, the community is just lazy. I've got family members of my own. They're just lazy. That's all it boils down to, man.
Yeah. I think there's no urgency because the culture doesn't promote it, right? It's not just the people, but it's the culture itself does not believe in hard work. It believes in taking shortcuts. That's why you see a lot of guys, a lot of people in the community are always trying to figure out a way of how to get around the government. How do I get around this? How do I get around that? Even selling drugs, right? That's a shortcut. I mean, yeah, you're making some money, but that's short term. That's not long term. There's no desire for long-term contingency planning. It's just always about right here, right now, next 5 minutes, next hour. It's never about 10 years from now, 20 years from now, a generation from now. It's always about the next 60 seconds. It's never it's never long term. Let me go to cyber. He has his hand up.
Yeah. Those people know they can do that. They just don't want to because it's not cool. So you can't you can't pull up to the club, CLUBB, and say, yeah, I just got this Series 67 degree or the Series 63 degree. The Series 67 licensure, and I'm gonna be a stockbroker, and I'm gonna be doling out stock options and making money off stock plays. Or you can't, pull up to the park that everybody be at, jump out and be like, yeah, I just graduated with a double major, one in mathematics, the other one in, physics. People gonna look at you crazy. And it's like Mike said, the culture doesn't support it. I think the other thing that I heard the one brother said, which I disagree with just a little bit, not him, but just the premise. Black women know how to approach black men. They need to quit playing games. They know what they need to do. They just need
BWs know how to approach BMs.
Oh, sorry about that. Yeah, BW. Sorry, BWs know what they need to do. They know how to approach, BMs. But the thing is that they don't want to do it that way. They want someone to kneel to them, or they want to deal with the drama. It's interesting because I dated this one chick, man, and every day she would have some new approach to like the drama, because every day I would find a way around it. I would disable it. I would disarm it. And one day, I guess she got tired, and she asked me, she said, I want to know something. She says, you're always find a way around every little thing. And I say, well, what do you mean by that? She says, you never like argue. Do you never seem to get angry? I said, I get angry. You just never see it. And she says, well, don't you feel that that's like boring? That's literally what it is with them. It's the excitement factor. They get this thing where the culture has promoted the promiscuous brother, or the brother who flirts on the edge with danger and death and despair. It has been romanticized that's equivalent to a roller coaster ride, or riding real fast on the back of a motorcycle, or something between the legs, right? Vibrating. That's what they equate that with. And she I couldn't deal with her no more. She ended up leaving because she couldn't get her rocks off like that. And I remember one time several times she did it. She pulled the get loud in the restaurant thing to embarrass me, thinking that I was gonna like go off or snatch her up. I just kind of sat there and just looked at her and kept sipping my plum wine, and just was like, well, I waited till we got home. I said, you can't be embarrassing me like that. You're embarrassing me. And if you keep embarrassing me, I told her a nice, cool voice like that. I said, if you keep embarrassing me, I'm not going to take you anywhere. I'm not going to do anything for you. Your purse is always going to stay empty, And so that's what it is with them. They know what they need to do. They just don't want to do it, man. And that's fine. I say this, and I promote this. Go offshore. Go find you a woman that doesn't know anything about the way that the negative culture works in this country. And if she does everything that she's supposed to do, and she asks you for nothing, that's the one, no matter what color she is.
To kind of add on to your point, the way they articulate Black masculinity is the major crux of the problem. It's always associated with volatility, violence, criminality, hostility, poverty,
chaos,
inequitable levels of education. There's something going on in their psyche that is telling them that this only applies to BMs. Because when they out, they never really talk about what WMs are doing, right? Well, he can do this and he can do that. They don't really talk about that. He kind of just exists within the vacuum of Western society, right? He's just a WM, and that's all that really matters. That's like the benchmark or the bare minimum that he needs to be. But for BMs, there's all of these sort of cosplay sort of perspectives, a cosplay look to the BM, right? The tattoos, the snapbacks, you know, the baggy jeans, the J's. It's always based on a visualization. There's a lot of feedback coming from somebody on the panel. And what I'm seeing here is that they have taken masculinity and have redefined it for BMs and for themselves. And you're not allowed to, you know, operate outside the confines of what they've defined for masculinity. So we have to, you know, with the Black Brain Trust and other panels, even other social media spaces, we have to take back that narrative. We have to take control over our own perspective of masculinity, because they have completely poisoned the whole entire perspective of masculinity. The very things that turns them on sexually is what keeps getting Black men killed by police officers and by other Black men or other BMs.
Great. Hey, Nagone, can I ask Mike a question real quick? Just as a question.
I just want to say something very quickly, and I'm done.
Mm-hmm.
Many of them, and I'm not talking about all of them, so I just want to make sure everybody understands that many of them are agents of chaos. Look at the community, it's chaotic. Look at what you see going on the tube, chaotic. Agents of chaos.
Mm-hmm.
Grown-ass men know what exactly this looks like.
Look at the rapper Kevin Gates with the tattoo cross on his forehead. You know, you got some of these other guys running around with tattoo teardrops, never caught a body, wouldn't bust a grape. You know, just crazy that they're really putting this out there, and only BW seem to really be gravitating towards this sort of perspective because they allegedly feel safe. I've yet to see any of these guys on the first 48, you know, really go out there and get it popping like that for them. I've never seen that before. You know, most of these guys sitting in, you know, in the interrogation room, head on the table, crying for their mama, looking for a lawyer, always lying, trying to get their way out. If they were so real, if they was keeping it real like that, why aren't they willing to sacrifice their freedom?
I wanted to ask a question. How many of you been on the panel too? Mm-hmm. How many of you have had to ask a woman to get out of your car or get out of your house? Mm-hmm. And do you feel that maybe men, you know, need to express that type of candor again, because that has a lot of power. I've had to do it where I basically have to turn the car around right in front of the residence. Please, I need you to get out. Or, hey, you're in my house. I had to ask a nice young lady to leave one time, and it was just like, how dare you? What? How weak are you? And this was like, no. She went through my stuff. She went through my receipts to say I had been out of the country and looked at some receipts or something like that. And I just said, like, you were out of order. I please need for you to leave. I'll call you an Uber. Matter of fact, no, I'm not gonna call you an Uber. I just need for you to leave.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had that situation happen to me 2 weeks ago. You know, my girl, you know, she drives my car around a lot. She drives me around a lot, to be quite frank with you. I have a little issue with my left eye that I'm actually getting fixed. So I don't like to drive so much. So, you know, I'm a nice car. She drives it. You know, I'm just letting her do that. And you know, she picked me up, took me somewhere. We had a little bit of a disagreement. I told Mike about it. I don't want to get all into it. Yep. Went to my house, dropped my car off, and told her promptly to get in the car and leave. She was tighter than an African drum. But at the end of the day, she had to pack up, get up, go get in your RAV4, and take off. And that's what she did. Mm-hmm. And you know, and that's just kind of where I'm at with that. I ain't playing it. Too old. Don't have time for it. No. Too old.
Yeah. Let me go to DE Raptor, and then we'll go to Thai City.
From what you were talking about, Mike, when you get to a stage, there's a certain stage that a man gets to in life, and he worked hard for it, and you find that you can't have a conversation with the type of BM that you see in everyday life. You can't go down and say, you know what, I got an engineering degree or so, I work in so. She wouldn't know what you're talking about. This is the kind of woman who will want you to forget about that degree and tell her how beautiful she looks in her nothing clothes. You know, she go down to the dollar store and buy clothes, and you gotta tell her that she's a queen. You gotta bow down to her. That's the way that they have been taught, raised like that. Grandmother, great grandmother, uncle, aunt, everybody is pleasing them with every word that comes out of their mouth. So when you meet somebody like that, you can't deal with it because you know how hard you work to attain the position that you're in.
Let's go to Thai City.
Yeah, that's how. Like, I'm chill. Like, I don't have drama and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? And I have, like, right now in my life, I got total and complete peace. You know what I'm saying? Just me and my son. You know what I'm saying? And you know what I'm saying? When I interact with women, BWs, I can just sense that drama coming back or something, and it's just I run the other way, bro. I don't even risk it no more. You know what I'm saying? So,
Many of these women are spoiled, man. They're spoiled. They're spoiled children. 40-year-old women acting like 18, 19-year-olds.
Yeah.
Parents spoil them. Look, when you got somebody told
women.
You look like a queen, you look so beautiful, you know,
I'll drink your
drop
bath
everything
water.
I have and give it to you. You know, what are you gonna get?
5-star chick.
No, you get a lot of that, man. And when I told homegirl, you gotta bounce.
Yeah.
He was tight, couldn't believe it. But nah, you're gone.
no, but I'm telling you, stability is boring to these women, man. And just being chill and calm and just living your life and you know what I'm saying, trying to accomplish
Agents of
something.
chaos, bro. Agents
Dog,
of
I'm telling you, man. And you when you grow and you get into that mental state where you know it's a slow, steady grind to where you need to go, like, man, women can't deal with that shit. They can't fucking deal with it. They can only ride with it for so long, man. They need that adventure somewhere.
Yeah, let me go to Super Triz, man. He got his hand up.
Yeah, is my voice coming in all right? I'm on the microphone this time.
It's clear, fam. It's clear.
Okay, yeah. So, you know, in response to what the gentleman was asking about, you know, having to dismiss a companion, women out of the car, but more aggressively, you know, when I was younger. But the first time I was calm and collective was when I was about I think I was 25 or 26. I had just bought my house. Actually, I've been in my house maybe a couple months. And I had a visitor from out of the country. And, you know, she flew in on her own dime, you know, and everything like that. But you know, she just really irritated me. And I just went online, bought a ticket. And I said, you know, yeah, I bought you a ticket. Your flight is leaving tomorrow morning. Just like that.
Wow.
She cried and
Wow.
whined and everything like that.
Ice
Now,
water
was it
trees,
Spirit
man.
Airlines? Was it Spirit Airlines?
No.
Mike, stop it.
No, it was
You mailed the other bag.
I bought her a first class ticket on Lufthansa. I bought her
You're
first
such
class.
a nice guy. You're such a nice guy. I'm jealous.
No. You know what? He sent her ass off in style. My nigga. That's how
Yeah.
You know, hey, you know what? When I was younger, man, I had this broad in my car. We went out, we had some drinks and whatnot, and I had the white Cadillac Brougham with the white leather inside, and this girl looked like she was about to throw up, and so I stopped at the stop sign, and she get out to like throw up, and meanwhile I'm thrown too, so. Man, I do not remember driving off and leaving that girl, man. I woke up to so many text messages in the morning.
So wait, I'm curious. I'm curious though. At Trizzy, what was her reaction when you
Yes.
had to tell her that she was?
Oh, she cried and begged.
5,000.
You know,
She
she gonna
cried.
remember
She
that
cried.
for the
She
rest of
cried and
her life.
begged. She cried. It.
She gonna remember that for the
Well,
rest of her life.
Yeah. You know, and the thing about it is that when I told you know, my friend, you know, because everybody has seen her. This chick was an 11. Out of 10, she was an 11. Who's dealt with a woman that looks a certain way, knows what type of headache it can bring. I mean, literally, it was a headache. And
Yo, you can feel
when
it.
I told my friend I dismissed her, they was like, "What?" They was like, "Oh, let me get her number." You know, I was like, "Look, it's not something you want to deal with," you know, and they just couldn't believe that I did it. But you know, I got to the point, you know, where it's like, you know, I felt like, you know, I was like, you know what? I done put in this work. I made the sacrifices to do what I got to do. Mind you, I bought a house. I didn't have a degree when I bought a house. Frugal. I didn't have a degree, and you know, I did what I had to do. And so at that point, I was like, man, I put in too much work. Now, at the point I'm at now, like I absolutely have zero patience, zero tolerance for any type of nonsense whatsoever. And I make it very clear to women that I interact with right out the gate. And a lot of times, you know,
Triz,
that will women was going.
Your mic is breaking up.
Your mic is breaking up a little bit, but I'll say this: wait till you hit 50.
No,
see how little shit you'll be taking there.
Raise your hand. Raise your hand for a glass of water when you come over here.
Wow. Well, you know what? Here's the thing. I no longer have time anymore. So it's not like, even if I wanted to put up with certain stuff, I just don't have time anymore. Like, I'm so on my purpose. I'm at work right now. I'm putting in 60 hours a week every week. Not some weeks. I'm putting in 60 hours a week every single week. I'm on my purpose. I don't have time for nonsense at this point.
Let me get to the next statements that were made, and then we'll swing to MOT. So the next statement that was made was that the brother in Greece was cupcaking for WWs in Athens, wherever it was, and that the reason why he got killed was because he was trying to mac to one of the WWs, and the WM wasn't going for it. Here's what I know about this case.
Wrong.
Yes, it's wrong. It's wrong. But that's the Flightless bird's perspective, right?
Right.
The brother was actually defending somebody in that bar, in that club venue, and the WWs were teethy for this brother.
He was taking a picture with one of the waitresses. That's all he was doing. Took a picture with one of the waitresses.
But he also had defended somebody, I think, who was being confronted in the venue as well. But that part doesn't get that part doesn't get discussed, right?
Nope.
Exactly.
And the men who the WMs who were guilty of this weren't even Greek; they were Bulgarian, if I remember correctly.
Bulgarian and a couple were Serbian.
Yep.
He didn't have home field advantage though either. That's a tough situation.
Yeah,
and one of them was a bouncer from the club right next to where that fight took place.
Yep. And he actually put up a fight. So he didn't back down. He actually put his dukes up, man. He actually threw some blows. So it wasn't like he was a coward. It wasn't like,
But he had 10 punk ass little white boys coming after him. I wish I was there. I would have washed 9 of them.
Hey Mike,
I just would have washed 9 of them niggas.
Yep.
To give a little backstory on this kid, his family's actually from Austin, Texas.
Okay.
Mother and father do very well. Over here in Austin, Texas, a dude looking like him does very well with the women. His brother does very well. I think he's married. I think his brother's married to some white girl. She's pretty badass. So for him to be conducting himself that way over there was natural for him. The dude was actually in the process of starting a business. I forgot. I think someone said that he may have had some investing behind them. Him and one of the other co-founders, and that's why they were doing some traveling over there. So this brother didn't have he wasn't no low level hanging fruit brother. He wasn't fucking chasing after Becky and all that crap. That nigga was actually over there doing business, and he converted it into a fun trip for themselves. So this brother was doing. Trust me, that chick that he was taking a picture with is just normal for him.
It was a waitress. It wasn't even waitress. Exactly. It wasn't anyone who was heavy duty. And the problem I really think that he had was he traveled. I'm gonna say this, and I know some folks may not like this, but he traveled around. He had too many mayonnaise boys around him. He didn't have no buckers with him, because had he did have some straight up buck motherfuckers, all right, that wouldn't have gone down like that. All right. If he had me and one of my crew, that wouldn't have happened. Believe me. All right. It wouldn't have happened. It wouldn't have gone down like that. Not like that.
Agreed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Brothers travel. I'm gonna say this to brothers right now. When you travel with brothers, and travel with down cats that you know. All right, because they're gonna have you back. Shit pop off. That's all I gotta say.
Let's go to MOT because he's joined. He hasn't spoken yet. Man, Jamal, can you hear us? I think he's away. Let's go to Ty City.
Yeah, I can. Yeah, I can.
Go ahead, MOT.
Oh, what was the question previous to this that everybody was talking to?
There was no question. It was a statement that was made on another channel from a flightless bird. Basically, they were talking about brothers chasing WWs. So BMs chasing WWs. And the example of a failed relationship was the brother in Greece, Bakari, who was killed by several WMs. And the assertion was that he was chasing WWs and that's why they killed him.
Wow. I mean, but you have to understand. Yeah, man, but you have to understand why these turkeys talk. I mean, they have to realize that anything that is not focused on them, immediately they laugh in the dude's face and say that he earned it or deserved it. Like, these people don't care nothing about facts or anything else, and they have earned their status as I guess an ostrich is a flightless bird too. You know, 3,000 pounds, big ass ankles, can't take flight, but can run 60 miles an hour, something like that. Yeah, that's all I got on that.
Yeah. So these are the sort of accusations, the statements that are being made on these other channels, and we have to push back against that, because they put it out there and no one challenged it. And I'm scratching my head and saying, how is this possible, man? How is this possible? You're able to make these sort of statements,
Hey, Mike, can I ask you one thing? Can I ask you something very quickly? Remember Kanika Jenkins? Now, Bakari Henderson, they laughed at him and said he deserved what he got. But when Kanika Jenkins walked into that refrigerator and died, you had an outpouring of people that you couldn't believe in. And then they said somebody put her in there and murdered her and raped her and all the kind of craziness, of which they found no evidence of anything like that.
Yo, when things don't fit their narrative, they go into cuckoo land, bro.
But it was over that woman, black woman. She died. It was a tragedy. So I'm not going to sit down here and say hey, look what happened. No, that was tragic. So that was terrible. I felt for the family for her passing. She was 19 or 20. She was very young. So that was a terrible passing. Her mom and them acted real strange after the whole incident happened, which I don't want to even get into on that. But when Bakari Henderson shortly thereafter was murdered by these savages, of which have all been prosecuted and went to jail. Yep. Wasn't like over here in America. They all them dudes are fucking pining away doing fucking real time. But
they're doing double-digit numbers.
Yeah, they're doing time. They're doing time. There's no question about that. And maybe not everybody got because there were other people who got involved in it and kind of got away. But the main protagonists of that conflict, they're in jail. But yet people laughed at them. people partied on that. So I just want to let you know, people talk about, oh, you don't have no friends, and oh, you guys gotta do this and do that. You got to get behind these ladies. They were laughing at that.
Yeah.
So I just want I just kind of want to put that out there to kind of let people know, what was up. What was up. I think Bakari made some mistakes. He was traveling with a weak crew.
Mm-hmm.
And you never know what can happen overseas. I've traveled extensively, and I've always made sure I've had a crew with me. But, regardless of that, when he was killed, some people found that mighty entertaining, and there were many Black women who thought that was very entertaining. I didn't find anything funny in that.
Yeah, I mean, they always talk about brothers don't have any privilege. They're not really getting anything of quality. BMs only chase, the trailer trash of WWs. In reality, this had nothing to do with WWs. This had to do with, and it is unfortunate consequence, but they're painting this picture that he was chasing WWs and therefore he deserves what he gets. But in reality, the American consulate actually got involved in this. If I remember correctly, the American consulate actually put some pressure on the Greek government to take action on this. And thus one of the poorest countries in Europe actually found guilty, incarcerated these perpetrators, man. These WMs, and they're doing time, and justice has been served. I don't see how you can find anything comical about this. Let's go, MOT.
And Mike, just to give a little bit more information, his father seems to be connected over here as well. That's why they were able to get the American embassy to get involved. So they had some weight to get that pushed. So you don't find that with just some normal Black people. They had some serious weight behind them actually pushing to get that boy some justice.
You mean they wasn't dominated?
No, what I'm saying is his father is an educated lame who has some good connections.
I know what you say. I know what you say. Right, I got you. Oh man.
Yo, but you know what though, man? It's kind of messed up, bro. Because remember the guy who was with the guy was with the girl, and he just kissed her, and they gave him 15 years or something like that. They found out that he didn't actually take her or whatever, and man, they were celebrating that shit all over the place. He was with a WW, and that's what he gets. No, 15 years. That's not right.
Yeah, those are kind of extreme. Let me get to the next statement. Next statement is BWs were the driving force behind Black Wall Street, and BMs lost Black Wall Street over WWs.
What?
Man.
What?
Oh no!
Out of whose pie hole did that come out of?
We're not going to mention no names because we don't want the we don't want to give them any free publicity. But what I'm saying here is the statement was BWs were the driving force behind Black Wall Street, in that BMs lost Black Wall Street over WWs.
Yeah, I'm hip to that.
That is hyper.
That was a far-reaching.
That's hyper ignorant.
I mean, they made losing Black Wall Street akin to losing a pair of keys or something, man. What are you talking about?
Black Wall Street was taken down because of its success, its economic, burgeoning, growing power. It's rising, high tide community where that was one of the wealthiest communities in the state.
Man,
and
Wall Street,
they were attacked for that.
Black Wall
Street, military planes, with
ignorant savage
planes.
would speak this.
Yep. Yeah, and Black Wall Street was back then what Silicon Valley is today.
Yes, exactly with that.
So I'm trying to figure out where do BWs become the driving force behind Black Wall Street.
Hey, Mike. These are chattering mad women. These are garrulous, chattering mad women. What is this?
Dude, you think,
No. There's no
you
sense
think
to
that's
this.
something you got to put
These are
that next
chattering mad
to
women.
because I've heard that the civil rights was about access to WW.
Oh yeah,
that's
no
the next
history,
one on my list.
no facts. We're sitting here debating this from mental midgets. From mental midgets. What,
bro?
Well, today they put their stilettos on. So
come on, dog. These people have intellects of amoebas. What are you talking about? This what? Just studying it. These people haven't cracked a history book. They have no knowledge of this.
No citing of sources, to my knowledge. They've never cited a source based on the conversation that we had last night. I find that to be very interesting. So I wanted to bring this up. Maybe somebody out here can deconstruct this.
The battle.
I can tell you the basis that person used that off of. I actually, a while back, struck back at that because I felt, talk about being a little pissed off.
Mm-hmm.
I felt that was a major disrespect because what that person did was basically take the instance of, the unfortunate gentleman having purportedly, and I mean, we're talking none of us were here back then, but, well, not all of, maybe, I don't know, but I wasn't here, and so they took it off of how the newspapers, obviously super biased and the bigotry, ran with that article and inflamed, the W community. And they went on the offensive. We all know the story. But I actually had made a video. I ended up deleting that video. But I actually made a video calling that flightless bird out. Because imagine if that was your ancestor, direct. Like it could be any one of our ancestors. And the way that the flightless bird laid that out was that, all of Black Wall Street and all its glory and glamour was lost over a BM thirsting over a WW and basically destroyed a whole entire community and ecosystem. And it's like Nagon just said, military planes. I mean, that was Man of Tomorrow. Military planes, real lives were lost.
They had their own Air Force.
But I'm just saying, actual lives were actually lost behind that, and to put that up on a pedestal like that was just wrong. And that was disrespectful.
But it gives you insight. People talk about white supremacy. Who are the white supremacists here talking right now? Now you have to sit down here and really take a look at what these people are saying. Look, and you have to ask, who are your friends in this? Got to ask yourself this very serious question. All right. I know this is a tough one. I know there are those out there that want to cape and want to sit back and say, yeah, we got to stand up. You got to be a man and all. We hear all of that. Look at what you're hearing. This is all I have to say. This is when I say, you brothers, we're only friends and we have to get our acts together and really pull our game together, because you can see to a large extent what you're dealing with. I mean, Black Wall Street. I mean, this is the chronicles on this are well known. It would be like saying, as we know now, Emmett Till was killed because he whistled at a white woman. Well, we just recently heard this white woman
still alive,
who's still alive, who's hiding, who's somewhere in hiding, sat back and said he never did anything. That never happened. I lied. Yeah. They admitted it. But this is what these people will tell you. That's the narrative.
Yeah.
Well,
and we all knew that Emmett Till was never.
The area of Black Wall Street that in Tulsa that doesn't get discussed is that the Black men who put up a fight to defend Black Wall Street were former World War I fighters.
That's exactly
just
correct.
Came back from the war.
They had so much weaponry that I guess they had been attacked before, that the Black men before was already ready for this. So they had a plan in place. That's why the defense went up so long. Because you just won't walk in a little part of town and just do what the fuck you wanted to do.
And they purchased many of those planes from the military. But mighty funny, we come up some 80 some odd years later or whatever, and we see these black women literally in Tulsa telling other black men to get out of their sight while they went in line and bought as much weed as they could after an Asian man kicked them right out of there. Only thing I'm saying is, this, I'm not making this up. This is what we've all seen. Y'all put that into your calculus and figure some of this out yourselves. Just take a look at it. I mean, we're not making this up. In Tulsa, this is what we saw, but some 80 odd years later. All right, anyway, I'm done.
And Nagon, it also goes to your point about the Jason Pope issue, right? Which is, who was he targeting? Who was he really targeting?
Who was he really targeting? Some people saying that they were glad about seeing black women get the AIDS and all that. None of us here would be glad.
Glad about that. What I'm saying is his ultimate plan was to target black men.
It's just target black men, but at the end of the day, it hit black women. This is a tremendous. This is a tremendous. No. But this is a tremendous tragedy. This is one of the biggest L's that we've seen in the last 100 years. Nobody can sit down and talk about it. A bioterror weapon running around with a black female on his side with his basically brand on her while she was bringing other black women over to him. I mean, if anybody understands what a longitudinal study is, and you sit back and you take this Jason Pope as basically the individual who was doing the intake, if you will, and studied and had many subjects that he studied over a certain period of time. This, in some respects, is going to give you a fairly decent cross section of what many of these women are thinking across the country. Unfortunately, this is the 850-pound gorilla in the room that they don't want to talk about, and why they don't want you to talk about that. This is what they want to hide. This is what has been revealed. This is truly how bad this is.
But they'll paint this picture that BMs were cowards. That was never the case with Black Wall Street. That BMs stood their ground all the way to the very last man, to the very last bullet.
Cowards don't start Wall Streets.
Cowards don't start Wall Street. Cowards don't.
According to them, BWs are the driving force behind Black Wall Street.
BS.
In which way? Name them.
Well, I guess they had straightening combs, that were advanced or something like that.
Name
with, carbon fiber grips or something like that.
So these women were buying aircrafts and everything else like that for the town.
Well, they were pumping oil. They were pumping oil with Yaki No. 3 or something to that effect.
They built the buildings and built the roads through that town. That's what they did. Is that what you're saying?
You know what, Nagon? I'm gonna tell you something.
I'm not trying to slam.
Nagon, I'm being honest with you.
I'm gonna tell you something.
These are ridiculous arguments.
Raise your hand, man.
Hey, let me say this to Nagon.
Okay,
Nagon.
I'm out.
No, Nagon. I'm sick and tired of you putting down black girl magic. Them roads magically appeared, and that resources and airplanes magically appeared because of black girl magic.
I mean, this is a comedy, but it's kind of ridiculous that we're even countering this, because this doesn't need to be countered. You just go in history books and just read it. I'm not even going to sit here and even get into the depth of what this thing was really all about. Let them read it. For y'all, read Black Wall Street and its destruction. Read it.
Well, here's the issue.
Reams of information on this.
Well, here's the issue right here, Nagon. This is why I appreciate you guys as panel, because Mike's argument has been kind of one of those reading between the lines, which is, okay, let's just say everything you're saying is correct, just for the sake of conversation, right? What you gonna do now when you know that these economic things are gonna change and automation's coming in? You still ain't telling your black boys and girls to go get degrees to better themselves or to go off to college. I saw this one beautiful little black girl. She did a video talking about she's 100K in debt, but both her parents went to Wake Forest. Yeah, both her parents went to Wake Forest. Got a college degree. She went to Wake Forest and got a degree in English, but she's $100,000 in debt. And I'm like, who the hell gonna marry
But
that girl?
English.
Am I right? But you should.
Mm.
So let's just say, for the simple fact that black women has done all the goofy shit y'all say y'all have. What about the future in the next 4 to 5 years, 10 to 2030? What about that? And that's what they probably don't. They don't have an answer for it, man. You know, they just
They
keep
haven't
coming
had,
around these
listen.
circle jerk conversations because they know they don't truly have an answer, and they're looking at guys like Nagone, looking at guys like Mike,
No,
MOT.
they're looking
Looking
to
at y'all to
goats.
save them. That's what they
They're
want.
looking
They
to
want y'all to
goats.
save.
Well, they're
Yeah.
looking to goats for, for the alpha male wisdom that he supposedly has. And unfortunately he cannot provide that for you because he is incapable of even dealing with social media personalities, man, of the Sotomayors. So
Icy hot goat. Icy hot goat.
Yeah. Hey man,
yeah.
appreciate you guys. Hey, appreciate y'all having me on. I'm gonna keep listening to chat. All right, fellas.
All right. Good looking
You
out,
know
fam.
what?
Peace.
You know what, gentlemen? It reminds me though, because like I said, my grandmother, man, she stayed around to 106. And you know what's funny, man, is that that one grandmother, the one that was like that, she was like that rock, man. A lot of the older black women, when we lost that layer of the older, wise black woman who really didn't have to say much. She said few words, and everybody, she could direct traffic, but she had the strong BM behind her. When we lost that layer, it's kind of like the women just kind of went crazy, because I remember my grandmother, man, and a lot of other strong black grandmothers back in the day, man, they knew how to change the game and set the record straight. And a lot of these BWs couldn't even look them in their face, man. And we don't have that no more. And they just running amok, you know?
Yeah, we have to deconstruct a lot of these talking points, man, because if they're not being challenged, then people take it as truth. And what I heard, and I think maybe even Ago may have heard this, was pretty disgusting, man. It's hard to allow things like that. For me, it's hard to allow somebody to get away with that. I got to come in there and G check somebody on that.
Yeah, Mike. Yeah, you were tight.
Yeah. We've deconstructed most of the points. And I think for those who have joined a little bit later, the last talking point, man, is that we kind of covered that already about Jay-Z being a pedo. Supposedly, Nas said that, in his ether, that Foxy got you hot because you kept your face in her puss. That's just a rap lyric. It's not facts. That's not a source that you can cite as actual fact. There is no evidence that Sean Carter performed cunnilingus on Inga.
Well, see, Mike, if they go off of that, then they got to go off of Jay-Z saying, "I never stuck my cock in Fox's box."
Right. But they also don't want to take the Icy Hot Stunner, who says he had access to 600 BWs, as fact. They say, well, how do we know that? How do we prove that? But everything else can be proven. Isn't it funny?
Dude, like JC's lyrics wasn't like sworn testimony under oath.
Exactly.
You know
he didn't have his. Yeah, he didn't have his.
I didn't have to say that.
Yeah.
I mean, in all honesty, I understand these points got to be addressed, but this is so hyper ridiculous. I have to put this right now in the realm of entertainment. I can't even look at this in the realm of any kind of anything serious. I literally have to put this section here in stone cold entertainment. This right now is entertainment.
Bro,
That's
why
it.
I'll never show up on no panel like
because
that again, bro.
They want to get you triggered. They want to trigger you. They want to trigger you because the narrative that's been painted, that we've laid down in the manosphere over the last couple of years, last few years has been so stinging, and that narrative was really, it was a counter to the narrative that was being put out about Black men, and we've countered that narrative perfectly. We've looked at what some of the very key issues are. We've had to take our responsibility. Many of these others have not wanted to take responsibility. We've made them accountable for their side of the fence, and they don't want to do that. And they want to sit back and constantly say it's your fault when every day something comes up that shows why are you women acting in such derelict fashions, and this is around men who are supposed to be looking out and taking care of you. What's the deal with that? So, I mean, I'm just saying, I'm going to go back to the people in South Kakalaki, with all that craziness going down there. I pray all you brothers who are down there in that state, every woman you should look at as suspect. Please, this is life and death. This is not a game, and
Get the hell out of there.
that's what's going on.
Papers, please. Papers, please.
I have a young son. I know many others do. We have to look out for our boys. You are in danger if you don't know what you're doing out here, and be very, very, very careful. This is not a game. Your life is at risk playing around with some of these people, and a lot of people just are not going to want to.
Raccoon City.
They're just not.
Raccoon City.
They're just not going to want to take that. This is not a game. This is not a game.
Well, I've been looking up some conditions, some medical conditions, on how a person can get like this, a flightless bird can get like this, and it pointed to some early signs of dementia, and this is from Medical News Today.
Like in your 30s, though. In your 30s.
It could be something, man. So the first one is memory loss. Memory loss is a common symptom of dementia. A person with dementia may find it difficult to recall information they have recently learned, such as dates or events or new information. They may find they rely on friends and family or other memory aids for keeping track of things, your iPhone, your other smartphones, stuff like that. Most people occasionally forget things more frequently as they age. They can usually can recall them later if their memory loss is age related and not due to dementia. Number two is difficult planning or solving problems. A person with dementia may find it difficult to follow a plan, such as a recipe when cooking or directions when driving. Problem solving may also get more challenging, such as when adding up numbers to paying bills. We know how that goes in the community. Number three is difficulty doing familiar tasks. A person with dementia may find it difficult to complete tasks they regularly do, such as changing settings on a television, operating a computer, making a cup of tea, or getting a familiar location. This difficulty with familiar tasks could happen at home or at work. So what we see here is the difficulty in just reading comprehension. Somehow Black Wall Street was driven by BWs, and Bakari Henderson or Bakari in Greece was chasing WWs. That, even though that never happened, that's the difficulty in doing familiar tasks such as reading comprehension.
Yeah, I mean,
the civil rights struggle was about interracial dating.
Oh yeah.
I just want to say, a Black woman died in a refrigerator, and there was an outcry of pain and sadness, tragedy. A Black man was beaten to death in Europe, and some people laughed. I just want to put that out there. I don't know what else anyone else could say. And he wasn't out there swirling or running around with anyone. He was out there running a business. Took a picture with one of the locals in a club, in a restaurant, and some other people saw this, got tight, and defended one of his other boys who got into a situation, and he was killed. And people laughed.
Yeah, let me get to this next one. Number 4, being confused about time or place. Dementia can make it hard to judge the passing of time. People may also forget where they are at any time. They may find it hard to understand events in the future or the past, and may struggle with dates. Black Wall Street was in June of 1921, and somehow, some way, you know, the economic driver behind Black Wall Street was BWs, and that it was all lost to the fact that BM wanted to be with a WW. So
you think they're confused about place and time?
yeah, I think so.
Bro, you killing me with this medical breakdown, bro.
Number 5, challenges understanding visual information. Visual information can be challenging for a person with dementia. It can be hard to read, to judge distances, or work out the differences between colors, colorism. Someone who usually drives or cycles may start to find these activities challenging. So coming into the manosphere, typing in the chat, you know, and actually doing some form of research is a bit challenging. Thank God for Siri. All right, number 6, problem speaking or writing. A person with dementia may find it hard to engage in conversations. They may forget what they are saying or what somebody else has said. It can be difficult to enter a conversation. People may find their spelling, punctuation, and grammar get worse. Some people's handwriting becomes more difficult to read. Everything except for the last portion of it makes a lot of sense in this regard. The inability to hold a conversation, you know, over talking people, you know, repeating yourself. You know, you're dominated. Number 7, misplacing things. A person with dementia may not be able to remember where they leave everyday objects, such as a remote control, important documents, cash, or their keys. Misplacing possessions can be frustrating and may mean they Misplacing possessions can be frustrating and may mean they accuse other people of stealing. Again, accusing BMs of stealing content from BWs and from goats. A person with dementia may not be able to remember where they leave everyday objects, you know, birth control, blickies, birth certificates and driver's licenses. Yeah,
children.
Yeah, lace fronts. Number 8, poor judgment or decision making. It can be hard for someone with dementia to understand what is fair and reasonable. They may mean they pay too much for things or become easily sure about buying things they do not need. Some people with dementia also pay less attention to themselves, clean, and pay less attention to keeping themselves clean and presentable. So dirty flip-flops, dirty feet, flightless birds, that you know the deal. What is fair and reasonable? What they consider to be fair and reasonable is a gynocracy, a matriarchy, a society that is predominantly driven and run by one gender, and that's it. No scalability, no nothing. Number 9, withdrawal from socializing. A person with dementia may become uninterested in socializing with other people, whether in their home life or at work. They may become withdrawn and not talk to others or not pay attention when others are speaking to them. They may stop doing hobbies or sports that involve other people. So a person with dementia may become uninterested in socializing with other people. And so
Hey, Mike.
they seek out the manosphere.
Hey, Mike, hold on 1 second. I just want to say something. Hebrew Vulcan, I apologize about timing you out and deleting your comment. I hit it by accident. I'm sorry. That was not meant to be done. So please don't think I did that on purpose. I didn't. I jacked up. I'm sorry. Hopefully, you know, you don't hold it against me. I didn't mean that. I'm sorry. I deeply apologize. That was done by accident. I'm sorry. That was not meant to be done at all. So I just want to be clear on that. I don't want to be getting people timed out by accident. When I was on my phone, I made a mistake. So sorry. All right.
Yeah, a person with dementia may become uninterested in socializing with other people, and so enter flightless birds into the manosphere. Uninterested with talking with people offline, but will engage in online discussions, right? Social media, and harass and harangue, the members of and the constituents of that demographic. Number 10, changes in personality or mood. A person with dementia may experience mood swings or personality changes. For example, they may become irritable, depressed, fearful, and anxious. They may also become more disinhibited or act inappropriately. So you see pussy pics being floating around the manosphere, disinhibited and inappropriately.
Somebody
Oh no,
misplaced
Mike. Oh
And
no.
for example, they may become irritable, depressed, fearful, and anxious. So the anxiety is thinking black men speaking out on their own panels, and somebody needs to do something about those men on there. So personality changes, mood swings, depressed, um, fearful. You may not know what the Black Brain Trust may end up starting up next from a live stream. Irritable.
I'm diagnosing niggas now, man.
Yeah, this is the first time we've done a clinical diagnosis of some of the flightless birds, and this is what you find with flightless birds: dementia. These are the 10 conditions: changes in personality and mood, withdrawal from socializing, misplacing things, making up information as they go along, problem speaking or writing, the inability to hold conversations, muting people on purpose to keep them from talking, challenges understanding visual information on Google or Bing or whatever search engine you use. They have a challenge understanding this information that's available to them. Blackdemographics.com suddenly becomes unavailable. 404 page not found. Being confused about time and place, somehow wandering into live streams late at night becomes the thing now. Oh man, difficulty doing familiar tasks. Just basically not taking care of yourself. So I would say about 9 out of the 10 of these actually apply to a flightless bird. Difficulty planning or solving problems. We see this a lot. Very difficult to really solve, this fatherless America issue that they seem to have. Single mother issue. Where are your children? Well, somebody can climb through the window late at night. You don't know, even though there's bars on the window.
There's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah. There's nothing you can do about it. I'm too busy working for a job that I'm dominated by, by WMs. Memory loss,
Hey, Mike, you know what, man? And that's what I'm telling you. That's the vibe that I get from these guys, man. They don't have it all, man. Something ain't right with these dudes, man.
Yeah. I mean, if you look at goats, I think when they ran themselves, against each other, they tend to have memory loss. It could be, and it's the number one indicator for dementia.
Oh,
No.
So for a person to receive a diagnosis, they would usually experience 2 or more of these symptoms, and the symptoms would be severe enough to interfere with their daily life. I see 9 out of the 10 of these symptoms applying to these flightless birds in the manosphere.
Can we save them, Mike? Is there anything we can do to help these people?
Some of the solutions that I've seen, involves like giving them jigsaw puzzles and Rubik's cubes, maybe playing Sudoku or something like that. Bubble breaker, maybe Candy Crusher.
For 3 hours. for 3 hours straight on the stream.
Mm-hmm. Crazy. Absolutely madness. But this is what we're dealing with here. You know, this isn't the first time we've done medical diagnosis of or evaluations of the manosphere. We talked about this on one of our mental health streams about BPD, borderline personality disorder. So BPD, dementia, we're seeing all these type of conditions arise in the manosphere. And I don't know, man.
It's too much, man.
Ty City jumped off the porch and then he climbed right back up there saying, get me back up there.
No, I had more sense than these guys, man. I'm telling you, bro.
I thought you might have twisted your ankle or tore your Achilles or something like that coming off that porch, man.
No, man. I jumped off the porch and kept going, man. I didn't jump off the porch and go down the street, man.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you hear about it, man. You hear about these conditions. I mean, you only need 2 out of the 10. Some of these flightless birds have 10, all 10 of these conditions. Pussy pics flowing through the pussy pics flowing through the manosphere.
Pussy pics.
Oh, I'm sorry. That could be somebody's in here, right? The hush puppy, right? The hush puppies. So
no.
Not the hush puppy. Y'all crazy.
Hey,
Mike, said all the hush puppies.
Go ahead, Ty City.
I was just gonna let you know, man. You the big dog, Mike.
Oh, the big dog.
You the big dog, Mike.
Oh my gosh.
No, we I don't know if you can consider me a big dog, man. I'm just a regular cat.
You got the juice now, Mike.
Got the juice.
No, fantastic stream today was nuts, man.
Yeah, it was. I watched that. I didn't catch the beginning, but I watched most of it though. He took it down, man. I'm sad about that, but
why did he take it down?
Nah, it's a classic, bro.
Yeah, it was pretty fire, man. It was pretty fire. I mean, they were dropping literal hellfire bombs, man. They even dropped a Moab on them.
I heard maybe like 20 minutes of it, man. I was on my lunch break.
Yeah, man.
All I heard was just something about the scapegoat.
I got a link I'm gonna put on
having
the
some
backside,
sort of.
bro.
Okay.
Wait, say what?
I got a link to the original.
Oh, okay.
The source.
Yeah, I heard that the scapegoat had a run in with Tommy.
The big dog. He called him the big dog.
Oh, he's the big dog.
Oh yeah, Mack truck.
Drop that link, yo. Drop the link.
Yo, bro.
I mean,
bro. I was about to, on everything, bro. I wanted to start the truck up, put it in neutral, and lay underneath the tires, bro. I wanted to be dead just today, bro.
What happened?
Well, you have to see it for yourself, man. You have to see it for yourself, man. It's like what, 4 hours long? Yeah, something like that, man. It was like the Battle of the Bulge, man. It was crazy. It was,
Taz versus Tommy Sotomayor.
No, man. This was he had to fight. He had to fight from foxhole to foxhole to really get his way out of that one, man. Imagine that. A goat in a foxhole.
Hey, it happens, bro. It happens.
You cracking me up over here, bro.
With the cowbell.
No, man, I'm telling you, bro. Hey, I wanted to end it all today, bro.
Falls in a foxhole.
Hey, I was finna end it all today, bro.
Oh my gosh, this shit is this is entertainment, I guess, man. This is I find it pure madness.
I call Mike the big dog. Hey, you tell me you the big dog? I said, what?
You're the big dog.
Oh my gosh, this is.
Yeah, but you're the goat.
This shit done turned far to the left, man. Wow.
Nah, Hey, but I'm telling you, man, and it's just like when you hear it again, it's like I know these motherfuckers retarded. I know.
You said you know that what?
I know they're retarded.
Yeah, these dudes.
We don't use those type of terms. We just intellectually challenged, man.
Dimension. Gas that link up, man. It's Friday weekend, man. That's gonna be my late night stay up.
I mean, that shit was like the Allied bombing over Normandy, man.
No. Can somebody please pass that over to me, Dan, please?
Oh no.
Gas.
You like some Great Poupon?
But of course.
Yeah.
Oh,
You know, I seen it. I seen the broadcast earlier in the office, but I was busy with escalation, so I ignored it. I didn't get a chance to look.
Well, this was an escalation, that for sure, man. This was definitely an escalation. Man.
Oh man.
Yeah. I couldn't breathe, though. I'm sitting there like, is this real?
Yeah, man. He needed the red tails to get him out of that, man. Battle of the bulge. This is crazy, man. This is crazy, but this is the pre-diagnosis, man. You know, you have two of these 10 conditions, man. Then you definitely should see a doctor. You should see a medical professional.
But what do you prescribe to somebody who get on these panels and exhibit these kind of symptoms?
No, you just block them, man. If you got a wrench.
You don't do nothing, Mike. just block them.
Just block
no
them.
Prescription.
No Time them out. Send them to the wall. Send them to the wall. Time them out. Don't orange me, nigga.
Unless you super chat me.
Oh my god.
No. Oh no.
Man, oh man.
Y'all busting off tonight.
Nah, man, people don't have no shame, bro. I think it's needed for some people, man. Some people had to come in.
Man, this shit is so ill, and I'm listening to what how these women are they're just saying anything, and then they're trying to get a lot of guys to back them up because the narrative is so bad. And I gotta say, this is some of the worst looks I've seen from these folks, in I don't know, in history, bro. This is,
bro.
I would say that we if we haven't hit rock bottom, we're pretty damn close. We're on some close to the Marianas Trench type shit.
Yeah. You talking about going like 6-7 miles down,
like 7 fathoms deep.
Yeah,
rock bottom.
35,000 down to 40,000 feet. That shit ain't no joke.
Leagues under the sea, rock bottom.
Shit.
Bro,
you can see magma flowing and shit from down there.
Bro, that whole I help more black people than you, and here's the paperwork. Do you want to see the paperwork? Do you want to see the paperwork? Bro, it's just like, oh my god, it was just a shred, bro.
Well, standing in front of a podium with a dirty white tee on, man, and without his hair combed or picked, man, it's kind of a hilarious look.
Bro, I'm sitting there like, wow, dog, like, come on, man. Your wife on the line.
Man, what did I miss, dude?
Oh man, you have to go. Tyler City put the link in the chat.
Oh, he did. All right.
Yeah.
I got the source video. I don't have the stream from Fantastic. I got the source video.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but I mean, the source is just straight through. They don't got no interruptions. There's nothing on it.
Oh, I thought you meant the source, like the magazine. I was about to say, you got to give that thing 5 mics.
Yeah. It's a 5 mics. Hey, this is 5 mics.
Hip hop quote in a month.
It was 5 mics today, man.
Oh man, I would say so too. I would definitely say so too, man.
Damn.
And MOT, you got anything you want to add to this, man?
Nah, I watched them both live, and it was yeah.
You watched them both?
I watched them both.
You saw the Tommy situation too? You saw the Tommy stuff?
Oh yeah, yeah. It was. I mean, it's kind of like off the top rope, and then he's back on the top rope again, and then like the chair comes in the ring, and like, come on, man.
Oh, he doing Oh, he doing an old dust.
This
He
the
doing an
cage
old Dusty
match. You can't
Rose
get-
coming off the
It
top
wasn't
with the
no
funky
getting out of
elbow.
this.
No.
No,
Oh,
this
that's
the
the old,
cage
that's the old
match.
Dusty Rose maneuver. Old Dusty Rose come off the top rope, dropping the funky elbow. Oh no, it was like that.
You know what's interesting
that,
that you
man.
say? It's interesting that MOT describes it that way because Tommy Sotomayor does have a WWE belt that he walks around with. He's the Intercontinental Manosphere champion.
He's the the fucking IC champ.
Oh,
He's the HNIC.
The HNIC champ.
The big dog.
Yeah.
Oh, shit, man.
BDIC champ.
Oh shit.
No,
Yeah.
I expect somebody to be laying low around this motherfucker, man. Like,
Yeah, man. I saw an old boy from Philly got DDT'd on that too, man.
yeah.
I'm gonna try to put that dude in the Boston Crab.
Oh no.
What? What? Wait. What? Yo, he just sent me the link. Somebody like, what the fuck?
Oh,
y'all talking
Ty
about?
City has it. He's queuing it up, man. I think Ty City got some
Oh,
cloud
okay.
storage.
That's
He
why
got some
Ty
cloud
City over there laughing. He said he was getting ready to
Oh.
do all of that, fam.
Yeah, he's
God,
gonna. I
this
think
is
Ty
so
City's gonna put it
hard.
on a blockchain.
Drop it on a Google Drive link, man, and share it.
God, that shit's so hard, bro. It's like, dog.
Yeah, like, share, and subscribe.
I said, is this even real?
Yeah, man. Somebody caught a body today, man.
Bro.
We got
Tommy
Dr. Phoenix in the
Tommy
building, man.
Sotomayor said, who? He said, all these women y'all with, who you think fucked them out first?
What?
He said, all these YouTube pictures y'all people, who you think fucked them out?
Oh no. Anyway, this shit is the worst.
Yeah, we got Dr. Phoenix in the building, man.
Yo, what's going on, Dr.
Q50 red,
Phoenix?
Q50 red line. Put it in sport mode.
Yo,
Surgeon General. What's up, Surgeon General?
what's going on? Yo, Ty City got me cracking up over here. I heard part of that.
Ty City's a fucking Laugh Olympics over there.
Yo, I heard part of that stream earlier today, and my God. You know, the youth, I swear we were just talking about that last night over at the brother Xavier's channel.
Okay.
Lo and behold, you know, these dudes get, as in, I like the way Mr. Fantastic put it, these dudes get flambéed by Mr. Sotomayor. I mean, he came on there just roasted. I mean, it wasn't even a curry, it wasn't even a curry goat cookout. It was just a straight luau. You know,
it was a luau. Oh, so they put the goat and the pig under the ground. Let him cook for about.
It was a spit roast.
Let him cook for a while and open his ass on up.
Like a rotisserie.
It was like
rotisserie.
It was like that.
Yeah, I mean, he came on. It was, I mean, I was, I was just cracking up because, I mean, he came on just spitting fire. Because here's the problem: when he first came on, it was one of these other succulate ass clowns on the panel that was that was I've heard this dude tell young brothers you need to go get with single black mothers, but he's sitting here calling this dude all kinds of coons and sambos.
Oh yeah.
Then he's trying to run interference, and Tommy just roasted his ass.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I mean, just roasted homeboy.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing they can point to is Tommy got punched in the face, but that doesn't mean anything at this moment because you're getting suplex right now.
Yeah, I mean, he just roasted this dude into oblivion, and then I heard the part with the comment that Ty City just said, what he said about these dudes, and Mr. Fantastic followed something else. He said, you might be onto something. Some of these females these dudes are with ain't got smashed down like that. So I mean that was just a prime example of what we're talking about. Even the discussion, we were having a few days ago. These comments from these folks are not benign. These aren't just benign comments, man. These aren't benign discussions that they're having. These aren't folks that you should be ignoring, or we should be sticking our heads in the sand and just saying, "Oh, this is a moment that'll pass." No, brothers, productive, good meaning brothers need to be pushing back against clowns like this. I mean, you guys are getting clinical diagnosis for clowns with dementia. I know some folks that are neurologists, they can go prescribe them some Aricept. That's one of the 2 dementia drugs on the market and stuff. So I mean, but I would argue that they suffer from something a lot more sinister. What really happened, instead of the mom giving them a breast to suck on or a bottle with some Similac, she gave them a lead pipe when they were babies, and they sucked on that.
A lead pipe.
Or a Tampago box juice instead of breast milk.
Yeah, I would say that the only prescription that we can give is just a block, man. Time them out.
Just some of the clownish stuff. I mean, it was on the brothers Mr. Fantastic channel just a few days ago, where the same clown came on and called 2 brothers that are married with children pedophiles.
Yeah, that's what we discussed early in the live stream. That these accusations they call Jay-Z a pedo.
Yeah, dude. Last time I checked, Beyonce is damn near 40 years old. How the hell is he a pedo?
Yeah.
I mean, just.
Well, Dr. Phoenix, maybe they don't know what a pedo actually is.
And that's why I said they didn't get a bottle with Similac or breast milk. They got a lead pipe when they were babies.
Dr. Phoenix, Dr. Phoenix, are you familiar with a condition called supranuclear palsy?
No, but sounds like
sounds pretty substantial.
Sounds like a very enlarged, I don't know, brain or something. I don't know. Overactive nerves, facial nerves.
Yeah. Which leads to a tremendous amount of dementia, and then of course some of the pyramidal spinal tracts are also affected as well, and
spinal tracts. no traps, no wrong boys.
Spinal erectus. Just take a look at that condition.
I will check it out. Here's a funny thing.
Not super, but supranuclear palsy.
As in Toyota Supra.
Yeah. Yes, that's how it is. 2 doors, not 4 doors.
I'm actually having to study more on neurology and stuff like that, because that's probably one of my weaker backgrounds. But I'll say this much. Yeah, I mean, just being out here in these, having been coming on YouTube now since the summer. I mean, dude, I am thoroughly convinced, man. This place, a lot of what the manosphere is, I don't consider myself part of that or anything like that. But what it is, man, just seems to be a conglomeration of just a bunch of crack babies, man. You got a bunch of really dumb niggas and hoes on in this arena. I mean, it just. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry, Dr. No, I was just gonna say, go ahead, finish, because I was gonna ask you something. Go ahead, finish.
No, because my total take on it is like, man, this is just not, we're going beyond the bounds of just incendiary rhetoric towards brothers. We're making accusations. We're trying to apply labels and hoping that these labels stick. And no, these comments flow out into the mainstream, and this becomes narratives about brothers. This is why, platforms like the Black Brain Trust, and like Mr. Fantastic, because he's been giving them that work all this week.
Yeah.
And so this is why it's important for brothers like us to really push back, man, because I mean, this kind of talk is really dangerous.
Okay, my question to you, Dr. Phoenix, and I think it was on Game Changers Hangout some time ago, maybe back in August. So I kind of posited my theory, and you tell me if there's some validity to this. So in certain areas, I would say that what a lot of Black communities might actually be dealing with is a lot of non-intentional incest. So when you really think about, for example, the amount in one area, right, the amount of children women may have, and the potentiality for a singular father to be responsible for all of them. And then all of those kids grow up in the same areas, but see, unbeknownst to them, they don't know that they're actually related.
You know what?
Yeah, that goes on.
I would honestly say that's been kind of sort of. I alluded to that over on
Oh, okay.
Brother King Sigma's channel maybe about a couple months ago on a stream that he did. I really do. I am firmly of the belief there is a lot of incest. There is quite a bit of incest happening in the Black society.
Yeah, I believe so.
I'm just looking at the way some of these folks are looking. I mean, you got some weird looking people.
Yes,
I mean, you got some folks with just some really arrested neurological development. It's
so when you have that, you have to then pose serious questions as to what could be the cause. Now, we do know that incest leads to a degeneracy in genetics because you have a compounding of maybe a lot of similar or same DNA strands. So there's not a lot of genetic variance.
Well, I'm not going to go as deep in the extreme to say that this is going on across the board.
Not across the board, but
I just think what you're getting an emotional reaction from women because they, women, who are supposed to be the first transmitters of culture and everything else like that, they don't like the criticism, and it's not, we've been criticized. We've been saying, hold on a second, we're 50% of the problem. That's what we could say. Who's the other half of the problem? Shahrazad Ali and all of, they spoke on this. A lot of women do not want to deal with some of the issues that they have to get kind of right with. And they don't want to deal with that. And then we see these immense derelictions of actions from women, just derelict activity. And they want to ignore it. You can fly across the country with a wet ass and get knocked up and then drop single babies. And
hey,
then
brother, I heard that of you over there in that Maggleverse like last week, brother. I heard you talking to that flightless bird over there too.
I'm not even mentioning names, but I'm saying you could do that, but then nobody can say, well, you're not responsible for that. But yet they're adding on to the problem. And then people say, don't talk about that. And these are the choices that these people are making. And this is emblematic across the board with many of them. Emblematic. No one's talking about that. Other people will say, well, you got to get yourself together. You got to get your masculinity together. Who are these people telling you to get your masculinity together? Who are these folks talking like this? So you have to sit down and look at what's really going on and what's really happening here. And this is absolutely it's a certain level of craziness, of insanity. That's why you have some people who just quietly, they're not saying anything, just walking away, making their own moves and doing what they're doing and not engaging in this. And I have to say, that's exactly what many need to do because there's nothing to be gained out of this craziness.
Man, I've been pushing, Nagone, I've been pushing that shit since day one. I'm like, look, if you're going to be productive, be productive. Bottom line is this, it's not my job to save everybody. It's not my job to fucking save everybody. It's not your job. None of y'all jobs to save everybody. What you have to do is save your goddamn self. Okay. And then through your works, provide opportunities for others to save themselves.
Well, it's I always grew up, charity begins at home. It starts at home. You have to start developing yourself first, and then you could branch out from there. If you're no help, no good to yourself, you're not any good to anyone else.
Nobody else.
So we have to look at that first, and then you hear these other people who don't want to deal with what's really going on, and folks want to say what's going on, but they're not looking at the real picture. And when we start to look at some of this reality, it's just very uncomfortable. Anyway, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying, I think it goes a little deeper. I think it goes quite a bit deeper than that, because what I've seen in my time here is that you're having these women who are actually encouraging this among the men, and the men are actively engaging in this behavior on behalf of the women. So it was just like I was just saying a few moments ago when I heard you talking to one of these flightless birds last week. Like when you asked her about why she ain't married, what did she kept doing? She kept deflecting back to this, oh, black men this, black men that, black men are dominated, blah, 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 blah. But then what kept happening? You had this sucker ass nigga that kept interrupting, running interference, and then you had to call him out and called him son, and it was just like, dude, like, let the damn broad talk.
Well, see, Phoenix, I ran into that too,
The other time
Phoenix.
she don't need this goofy ass nigga talking for her.
Well, you know, they're trying to get these people to cry for them now, and this is the whole game that's been going on. Meanwhile, I don't see anybody really look. If you look at black men in the media and so forth, there's no one out there pushing our narrative whatsoever. There's nothing out there. But yet you have people here pushing a whole nother narrative saying you're not this and you're not that. When we look at the numbers and we really look at what's going on, we actually see a different picture. That's why I said, you know, I told Mike, I said, we should, you know, talk to Jenks Morton and literally have his film, What Black Men Think, really come out there and really show you what's really up. You got a lot of brothers taking care of their own kids. You got a lot of brothers really doing a damn thing. And nobody's really even giving you credit, but you have these crazy, ridiculous voices out here, you know, that are no longer legitimate, that have absolutely no significance to the big picture. You can see what they do, forget what they say, and they're totally legitimate. But yet they're still out here, you know, running around. I know that there's money being made and everything else because you got to put the economic aspect into this. But look at the narrative that you're trying to carry around: a defunct, you know, dilapidated, destroyed narrative that they're still trying to run with, and you have others trying to literally, you know, get up behind it. It is organized madness. This is some organized madness here. And,
here's one of the other problems, at least as it pertains to this particular group of people. A number of them have been allowed into spaces that are supposed to be part of the quote black manosphere. They've been allowed into those spaces, saying that we're all, and I've heard people say this, oh, we're all the same. No, I'm not the same as them niggas.
Yeah.
I am not the same as these folks.
Sorry.
You know, you're not gonna group productive black men into a fucking group with another group of people that are a bunch of frauds and clowns. You're not gonna
the next thing you know, we have the same fucking issues that we have the same fucking issues that they have, even though we know it's a goddamn lie.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I was saying. I was like, no, your children just don't just start sneaking out of windows. They don't just end up in places with grown people. It just doesn't happen that way.
It's not a roll of the fucking dice, dude.
No, that's what I'm saying. And it's like, these people have already pretty much signed their children off into society to do whatever they want to do. And it's like, and they look at you like, dude, there's no way you can do it. It's like, no, yes, you can be a responsible parent. Yes, you can. And to what Phoenix was saying, whenever you start breaking down who's responsible and stuff, you're gonna get these men that's gonna come out of nowhere and just be like, these women work all these jobs, there's no way they can do blah blah blah. It's like, okay, well, what's more important? You know what I'm saying? Like now you going down the fucking stupid road too.
You know,
I just want to say this very quickly as a father, as a dad, and as a grandfather. I am looking at horrific choices being made by choice, and none of us are talking to the thing in the reality that
it's conscious decisions, bro.
None of us are
don't
speaking.
Tell me about
hold on a second, fam. None of us are almost none of us really want to look at this thing dead in the face and deal with it for what it is. Many do not. Many do not. As a father, as a grandfather.
Hey, Nagoon, I couldn't even hang out with the kids 2 houses down because my granddaddy knew how that house was ran. He know what was going on. You know what I'm saying? I couldn't hang out with my friends were vetted for me.
Yep.
Yeah,
I'm just saying we have to talk about it. I mean, we have to get real with this. And some of these brothers who are trying to take up the that cause and running around, they gotta look at this thing realistically, man.
Realistically, brother, where I'm from, when I was growing up, niggas would have never been able to do what that dude was doing when you was trying to ask her those questions, and that nigga was running interference like that. He'd have got slapped in his damn mouth.
Yeah. But remember, you're on YouTube. People like that you think people like that would be talking to me if we were face to face?
Oh no, of course not.
That's not gonna happen. And men don't treat other men that way. That's not how men operate. Okay, so let's talk about that when people want to. Let's talk about how you talk to other men to talk about masculine. What isn't masculine? And it's frightening. It's actually frightening what I'm saying.
I think what I'm
and that's why
I don't have nothing for that.
I've
we ain't got
fallen
no
back on so
conversation
much.
to be had. Nothing.
I've fallen back on a lot of this because I look at what's going on and I see collective madness, and it is and to be quite frank with you, I don't find a lot of this funny because I don't think that it is. Anyway,
no, it's not funny, brother, because this is truly about a society that's truly in decline. You know,
we're trying to just find some humor in it because it's pretty goddamn depressing when you look at the specter of
I mean,
it all.
this
I'm
is
sorry,
about
Dr. Phoenix.
Yeah, I mean, this truly is about a society that's in decline. You cannot have this. You cannot literally having the damn inmates running the damn asylum and thinking that we're gonna survive in the damn 21st century. Because there's no way in hell that we can possibly think that there's gonna be a black society in the goddamn 22nd century if we can't.
It's gonna be two.
Yeah, there's just no way in hell that can possibly be the case, given just some of the craziness that I've seen out of folks on YouTube. Black folks won't even accept the hard-earned facts. When I was over at the brother Teapot's channel last night, one of the brothers in the chat asked me about, oh, well, we heard you talking about STIs the other day over the stream. You know, where are your sources? Well, if you heard me on the stream, then you know where my sources were. And it's funny because the brother Black Ram just put out the exact same, put out a video.
Wait a minute, man. Where are your sources? It's like, nigga, I work in the damn field.
Well, he provided his sources. That's
I know, but see, this is the thing, man. You got a lot of people who profess to be knowledgeable in a lot of areas, dude, where they've actually never like either held a profession or made any money in it. See, that's how I validate you, man. Like how are you gonna sit up here and ask a medical professional, what are your sources, nigga?
Well, the thing is, they said, the one last statement that was made over there, man, before we close out of this, man, is Amber Geiger was protected by all of these hillbilly white boys, WMs, when she was going into court, and that no one could touch her. That's the protection that the WMs provide for WWs. What are BMs doing for BWs?
No, correct.
What is implied here? Wait. What is implied here? That we would have done something to her when she was on her way to the courthouse for her trial. But
Centonia Brown,
dastardly WMs.
Yeah, well, Centonia should have been protected in the same way, is what they're saying.
She was a prostitute.
Yeah, don't even get me started on that.
Fucking clue, man. Jesus
I mean,
Christ.
This is one of these deals, man. You do got to charge these cats to the game, man. And I hate, I don't want to quite say it that way, but it just, first of all, the reason Amber Geiger got what she got was because of goddamn Mammy that was the damn judge. I watched the stream over the weekend. There were videos being put up. You can see the damn court bailiff brushing the woman, stroking the woman's hair, like it was playtime, she was at a damn playground, like, ooh, you just got such good hair. And then the bailiff comes out and said, well, I was searching. Woman, we saw the damn video. That did not look like you were searching anybody. Who the hell is intelligence you're trying to insult? I mean, she got off because, let's just keep it real. You had the damn Mammy. The Mammy wasn't, it was very clear. The Mammy did an interview with Roland Martin. It was very clear from the beginning. She really wasn't going to give her a lot of years. That's how she got out. It wasn't no damn white men protecting her. It was a bunch of Mammies protecting her.
Man, for all practical purposes, they should have just let her free if they were going to do that. Because I'd have been there crying, oh, I'm so sorry. Oh, honey, I'm so sorry. But I'm getting ready to give you 99 years plus a day. Don't worry about it. You'll be all right. You'll heal up. You'll heal up in jail. Don't worry about it. Her ass would have been gone for good. She wouldn't have again. That's how that would have been. I'd have been crying, oh, baby. Don't worry, 99 years. That's where she.
Nothing I could do. 99 strong.
I'm sorry, honey.
Well, the other statement.
Let me give you this Bible, and Lord knows you will be able to preach every word of this by the time your old funky decrepit ass come out of there. Don't worry about it.
Nagone, let me tell you something. Over here in Fort Worth, the next city over, right? You know they just killed the lady not too long ago, and
Yeah.
they had a black police chief named Joel Fitzgerald, and he was trying to tell them that they was running the police department like it was the 1950s. That's his exact words, right? So when he started coming down on these police and like punishing them and whatnot, they got him the hell up out of there. And
he's fired?
Yeah, they got rid of Fitzgerald already. So he went to the Texas Workforce Commission trying to get his job back, and it was blocked. So now it went into a lawsuit. So he got a lawsuit going. But see, none of these pro-black people was nowhere around to help this dude, right? And this guy was just screaming like, hey, this police department is out of control. The police unions are pretty much holding my hands behind my back. I can't really do what I'm supposed to do to straighten this police department up. Now they got rid of him and this situation just popped off. You know what I'm saying? So now he's fighting for all of these records and all of this stuff to be released. So it's about to be a whole nother thing going on out here in Fort Worth.
Yeah, I can see that. In Fort Worth, one thing I say is, I know Texas, I have family down there. And, Texas talks about how it's got a lot of, liberal areas and so forth. Some areas of Houston and some parts of Dallas are cool. The gray girls will run up on you and all that kind of stuff. And people think it's cool. But, man, deep down inside of that motherfucking state, that shit is not for your ass. And people keep forgetting that was one of the last states to come into the Union 2 years after the Civil War was over.
Well, so, I give you one even better. How did they get their state song? There's a very interesting story around how they got the state song and how you got a nice little fort that I spent installation. I spent quite a bit of time at Fort Sam Houston. It's an interesting story. How
Sam Houston. And these guys, they fought on the slavery so hard that even after 1865, they didn't come back into the Union until 1867, 1868. Yeah. So they stayed out. They stayed out. Some towns in Texas did not literally ready for this, did not celebrate the 4th of July till the 1960s. That's how deeply they held on to that. That's how deep this shit is with these folks.
No, the paperwork, the treaty or whatever is still open for Texas to succeed.
Well, it can't. Right? For all intents and purposes, it can't.
No, it can't.
I mean,
there's a clear reason why the bulk of the United States military is in the places where they cannot act a goddamn fool. It's not.
Yeah.
I mean, San Antonio. You have so many major installations with just within that city alone.
Yeah.
You got Lackland, you got Fort Sam Houston. Yeah. You have a number. You got Fort Hood. I had a bunch of friends at Fort Hood. In the South, you got Fort Bliss.
Yeah.
They're all
act up.
Yeah. So there's a reason you have the largest military installation in the world sitting right outside of Dallas.
Yeah.
So
there's a reason why.
Yeah, but I just wanted to say that because it's a lot of pro-black stuff going on, but it's people who actually like trying to make a change and do something. Absolutely no support.
No, because it's profitable to keep things broken. That way, you
can
fire up a live stream and say, "Give me some more super chats," and hit my Patreon.
Yeah. Plus you have to. There's a lot of money behind what's going on. Old folks are trying to glom on to the money that's up in here. But some of these narratives that they're pushing are just reactions to not being able to properly deal with some of this narrative that the brothers have laid down out here.
The answers and the solutions are always found in Patreon. Okay.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
On Patreon?
Answers and
All the
solutions are
world's
always on the
ills.
Patreon. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, this guy Joel Fitzgerald really became what he became, trying to help. Like that was his mission, was to go in there and clean up where he came from, starting with the police department. And look at the things he got.
But again, this is the major problem here, Tyson, is that this is what happens. They want brothers in these positions to lay it all on the line to get nothing in return.
Yeah. How many sons are they willing to sacrifice?
Yeah, exactly. None of these Negroes are never willing to do what it takes for themselves, but they want the folks who have bust their ass their entire life, who have sacrificed and given everything, to lay down on their swords for who? For you niggas?
Yeah.
It sounds like a good deal.
It did. Well, this one hit kind of close to home because this guy like exhausted all his resources, man, and nobody believed him. Nobody wanted to see what he had to say. Nobody was trying to push for these documents to be released and all of these internal investigations he had going. And now this lady get killed, and now, you know what I'm saying, he kind of got some validation. Now they want to try to like help him, and he already got his legal suit going, and it's just funny, man. It's just funny.
Well, like I said, I think the stream, like I said, I didn't hear all of it. I heard probably about, after, I don't know how long they had been going in on those over at those hosts over there. But what I did hear and what I heard from Mr. Sotomayor, I mean, again, he just spit roasted those motherfuckers. Shit, I mean, he was sticking and moving. That's essentially what was going on.
It really was uncalled for, but you can see that he wasn't new to like shredding them up like that. He just went in there with precision and just started picking them off.
I mean, it was too damn easy because I mean, like I said, I heard the part where when he first got in, and then I had to turn off, and then I came back in, and then I guess him and the goat was going at it or whatever, and yeah, and I mean, what I saw, I mean, the dude pretty much just roast him into oblivion. But I think Mr. Fantastic was onto something. What he's saying, like, yeah, these dudes weren't going that hard because, yeah, they were trying to get some views and some likes and some donations by having this dude.
They weren't trying to piss him off too much.
Yeah.
But I mean, damn, that shit make you look weak as fuck, man. God damn, man.
Well, that's always been the case, man. We saw the same thing with what's this other brother, African diaspora, when he came onto the panel. It was like, oh man, what's going on? What's up with them subscribers, bro? Try and be like you. Yeah, right. Okay.
Dog, I'm telling you, man, this shit, it's like, I
don't
know,
Mike,
man.
Mike, hold on, Mike. What are you talking about, dude? What happened?
Be safe out there, fam.
Say that again, Ty.
Be safe out there in the YouTube streets, man.
No, wait, Mike. What happened, dude?
No, man. Another popular Black YouTuber came through, and the goat was out there pandering, for an interview over on that platform, and old boy mushed him. Basically, basically mushed him, told him to take a hike, man. No, thank you. No pictures, no selfies, no thank you. So we see this sort of, this sort of humbling, taking his yarmulke off, putting it in his hand and saying huzza, huzza, huzza,
Wow, man. Oh my God.
He curved him. He curved him like he was hitting the high bank at Pocono, man. He curved his ass. It was a high. He hit him. He put him on the high bank, man. Curved
old boy swiped left on him. So
left him on red.
Yeah.
He curved.
If the Manosphere had a Tinder, he would have swiped left on him real quick, man.
Yeah, he curved him hard.
Yeah, but that's the point, man. That's the point. That's what happens, I don't need YouTube. I've been popping in the streets. So why are you begging for subscribers, fam?
Why are you on YouTube then?
Yeah. Why are you begging for subscribers? Why are you begging for views? Why are you talking about super chats and you don't need this, you don't need that? Turn super chats off and let's see how far you go. Let's see how far you go with that.
Man, they about to go about as far as the end of the month when the damn internet connection cuts off because they can't pay the shit.
Nah, man, it's only a matter of time before they start taking people's EBTs, man, in exchange for likes and stuff like that, man.
Nah, that shit was disrespectful.
Yeah,
bro.
I don't know if you could spend that in Baja, but
Wait, is this dude really in Mexico?
who knows, man? You know, this dude could be. I mean, it could be anywhere, man.
That's a convenient excuse, right? For like a nigga, let's just say if he was like on the run, he's on the lam and shit. So they trying to like listen in on like him speaking on Hangouts and shit, and he just, I'm in Mexico. The nigga like on the block.
Dog, if a man asks your wife to get you together, bro, that's so disrespectful, dog.
What does that mean, though? What does that mean?
Wait. What do you, Ty? See, you keep saying shit, bro, and I have no context. Oh, what are you
Bro,
talking
he called
about?
his wife by name. It was like, hey, Nyla, get this nigga, please.
Oh,
what?
Damn. What?
Oh man.
Oh.
Says.
Bro,
I mean, I like how when he rolled up on our panel though, dude. He came up here with a suit and tie on, dude. I respect him for that.
Oh, this shit was a clip on, man. He took that shit off when he got off, man.
Yo, it's so many little disrespectful shits in there, bro. That just, oh my god, he just ran it up on him, man. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. But let me shut this down, man. I think we've gone over, man. Yo, shout out to the new subscribers, man. We've acquired some new subscribers tonight, man.
Yeah, shout out to y'all, man. Thank you for following through.
I'm gonna drop that link in real quick.
Oh, you a brave man. Yeah, so hit the like button, please, if you have not already done so, and share the video if possible. Also, hit that notification bell so you get all the updates from the Black Brain Trust, including those posted on the community tab. Shalom to everyone.